It is a big day, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all know last year, today we went through and did a 24-hour live stream, just nonstop drafting teams on Underdog. And last year on Labor Day, they also dropped the Puppy 4. This is, I want to say, one of my favorite tournaments on Underdog. And I would definitely say if you are new to Underdog Fantasy, this is the tournament that you need to be getting in. It is a best ball tournament, so no time commitment at all during the year. Just meant to be some extra fun on the side. You're not going to replace your main fantasy football team with it. So I drafted 700 teams, won $150,000 last year. And it's also a $5 buy-in, $250,000 prize pool. So massive tournament, ton of fun. We had a member of the flock win this tournament, or win the Puppy tournament last year for $75,000 with a $5 buy-in. Hopefully that's not Nick this year. Hopefully that is yours truly. So we are going to go ahead and we are going to hop in this draft, ladies and gentlemen. We're in here at pick 11. Let's freaking go. All right. We're going to be able to make plays at 11. Obviously, draft boards have completely changed. If you are just looking at the injury landscape, if you are looking at pretty much all the adjustments that you need to be making, running backs completely different. I mean, a wide receiver is almost completely different. It's going to be a really, really tough spot to navigate, at least in comparison to how it was a month ago. And I'll say a lot of our drafts a month ago are not looking too hot right now. We need this, ladies and gentlemen. But please, if you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on this live stream. I mean, I think this is like hour 6 of us live streaming today. We just got off another one. And of course, subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. We're going to be streaming every single day until 2024. We've streamed like 130 days in a row. And if you want to get into a draft with us today, tomorrow, the next day, we're doing this every single day. This is Underdog Fantasy. Best ball, so no time commitment here. In the year I drafted 700 teams, $150,000 last year. If you sign up with promo code FLOCK, they're going to match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. Plus, you'll get our 2023 fantasy football rankings, a free trial to flockfantasy.com where you can find all of our premium content. And now is the best time to get on Underdog because not only have they launched the Puppy 4, but you also have a site-wide Patrick Mahomes special, more than less than half a total yard against the Detroit Lions on Thursday night, a Flock exclusive Underdog special, more than less than half a passing yard for Josh Allen with the New York Jets on Monday night. And I've never seen Underdog have 2 special pick'ems the same week, but somehow they even have a third one where if you are new to Underdog Fantasy, you're going to get an additional special mystery pick'em week 1. So it's 3 special pick'ems in the same week. I've never seen anything like it before. Please make sure you take advantage while you still can. But Cole coming out says, 10-team at BBR 6th pick in order. Bijan, Lamb, oh, beautiful. Olave, Amari, Gibbs, Hall, Watson, Deshaun Watson, Dotson, Ingram, JSN, Kamara, Flowers. A beautiful team, my man. A generally 10-team league, I'm looking to go ahead and get an elite level quarterback or tight end if we can. But yeah, in that kind of format, I'm sorry, with that kind of value, you can't go anywhere else. Now, Diggs off the board at 8. Now, what's nice also about us looking at this tournament is we're not having to go through and think like, oh, okay, what did these teams do back in April, right? Where y'all saw me last night in a couple tournaments take Cooper Kupp at like 14 because I was saying, okay, back in April, everybody was taking him at the beginning of the first, so we're going to get way more ADP value than them in this tournament. Well, this is a brand new tournament, so we don't even have to be thinking about that. We're just thinking about how we would draft these players for right now, right this second. And CeeDee Lamb off the board here at 9. You have A.J. Brown off at 10. I think we're going to go ahead. I think we're going to take Nick Chubb here at 11, ladies and gentlemen, giving us some flexibility. I'll talk about this thought process a little bit more on later in the draft, right? I mean, I think boards have changed a lot at this point. I think that we need to be making an adjustment at the very top. And I will be explaining this a little bit later in depth. But actually, we're going to go Garrett Wilson now. And yeah, I will take Wilson over Cooper Kupp. I mean, if it was a best ball draft where it's best ball mania, like $25 buy-in, $3 million first place prize on Underdog, where that's been open since April, I'll go ahead and take Kupp here. But a brand new slate, give me Wilson. Neil says, pick 2 super flex. Is it kind of mandatory to go top quarterback? How do you rank Hurts, Allen, Mahomes? Big thing. So thank you, my man. And I'd say yes. And if it's going to be a 4-point touchdown format, I go Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, then Josh Allen. If it's a 6-point passing touchdown format, I go Mahomes, Allen, then Hurts. But Jake coming out says 10-team PPR, one flex. We have Watson, Bijan, Barkley, Metcalf, Hopkins, Andrews, Williams. What are your thoughts? Great squad. Love that in a 10-team league with one flex. We get the elite level running backs out the gate and have an elite level tight end as well. Now, Jack says 10-team, a full PPR, pick 3. We have Burrow, Jacobs, Pacheco, Chase, Metcalf, Hawkinson, London, Brees. And then on the bench, we have JT, Gibson, Juju, Cousins, Higbee, Singletary, and KJ Osborne. In 10-team league, one flex, go ahead and drop KJ Osborne. Doesn't really have the upside to make a difference in your lineup. I don't really want to be rostering a backup tight end if we have Hawkinson. I don't really want to be rostering a backup quarterback if we have Burrow. If we could trade like Higbee in a package with Juju and go get a wide receiver upgrade, I think that could be appealing. Now, Zach says trade Chase for DJ Moore and Garrett Wilson. Hell to the no. Keep Chase. Lucas says pick 7, 12-team PPR format. We have Watson, Bijan, Etienne, Wilson, Amari, Deontay, JT, pick 79, JSN, Davis, Mostert, Collins, Mims, Ertz, Juwan. Any improvements? Juwan Johnson looks like he's not going to be playing at the beginning of the year. I think we potentially go ahead and look to move off Ertz for a better tight end off the waiver wire. If it's going to be Marvin Mims here, I think at the very bottom of the roster, it doesn't make sense to roster him because you're never going to be able to move on from him at the beginning of the season. Going to be a roster clogger for us. If we took JT as 79, I definitely like the price point and the upside that we have long term, but I'd rather focus in on a running back down to the bottom end of the team that could possibly make a difference for us early on. I like the Watson Amari stack. I like the elite level wide receivers at the top. I think those are the only adjustments we make. But Nick coming out says 10-team, happy BR format, 2 wide receivers, 1 flex. So I trade Jacobs for Hill straight up. I mean, here, wide receivers going to be worth a little bit less in this format, but I'd still rather have Tyreek over Josh Jacobs. I mean, we even have Chubb Walker still at running back. We have Chase, Keenan, London, JSM, and Flowers. I'd see if we could also send him London and get a running back in return, but I think I would make that move. Okay. But we have Jacobs going 25. Allen does go 26. In terms of surprises in this draft so far, I mean, not too many. I do want to point out that he had Cooper Kupp off the board at 15. I'll take Cooper Kupp there in a Best Ball Mania league, but here in this new tournament, I probably do end up opting for a player like Devontae Adams and just get the certainty that you have with that wide receiver. Okay. But we have Chai Day coming out and says, need to start 3, Waddle, Debo, Mike, or Zay Flowers. Definitely going to be benching Zay Flowers. I mean, this is something that I've talked about a lot as of late, but I mean, it seems like people are super optimistic to go through and play guys like Flowers, Johnston, JSN. I mean, even like Dalton Kincaid. When it comes to rookie wide receivers and rookie tight ends, please don't just play them week 1. You're never going to be kicking yourself for being a week late on those players. You can easily go through, you can easily afford to just wait an extra week, get the clarity on those guys, and then make your starting lineup decision to start Zay Flowers after his breakout, right? Chris says, hey, Flock, love the streams. Can you rate the team? It's a 12-team PPR, where at the 105, we went Allen. We also have Hill, Kupp, Mostert, Connor, Hawkinson, Williams in the flex, and then Kamara, Flowers, Pacheco, Lazard. Great squad. I mean, love the elite level wide receivers at the top. If we're going to get like Cooper Kupp, Tyreek Hill paired together, I mean, you have to take that value on Cooper Kupp. We have Josh Allen as well. I think we have the overall depth to cover for the lack of production that we're going to be getting from Kupp early on. Yeah, because obviously when you have Kupp, all of a sudden wide receiver depth is going to be a little bit more important because you don't know how long you're going to be without Cooper Kupp. Now let's go ahead. Let's take Deebo Samuel here, 35. Let's see what this team does on the turn. I know a lot of people would rather have like DJ Moore over Deebo. I can't do it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry. Deebo Samuel just 2 years ago is the wide receiver 3 from a points per game perspective. Ramadre, Christian Watson go. I'm going to go ahead and take Joe Mixon here as our second running back. Definitely with the way that draft boards look now in comparison to how they used to, I want to stay a lot more flexible. I mean, it's going to be hard to find late round values that we like here. But let's move this over. Give more back out. Happy to see you, my man. Asking, how's the eye? Yeah, the eye was tough. Y'all were not in the live stream earlier today. I got something in the eye. I mean, it was a brutal event. But correction from earlier, 10-team standard league. Fields, CMC, James Cook, Jefferson, A.J. Brown, Garrett Wilson, Kittle. And then on the bench, we have Richardson, Taylor, Gibson, Hunt, Dion. Should we upgrade quarterback or tight end? Chatsoon, yes, sir. I don't think we need to upgrade either quarterback or tight end, my man. I think you're in a very good spot overall. I mean, we have Richardson as well if Fields doesn't work out, 2 quarterbacks with elite rushing ceilings. The only thing that I would say is if you really wanted to upgrade a tight end from George Kittle, sure, maybe you can do it. There's just no reason to look to make that move right now, right? I mean, we have Jonathan Taylor, so it's going to be a little bit harder for us to get by with the wide receiver running back depth at the beginning of the season, even if we have the elite level ceiling later on. So I probably keep the team as is right now. And once we get Taylor back, then at that point, if you want to make a play for a tight end, sure. Braden says, trade or write it out. Dynasty Superflex. We have Herbert, Gibbs, Etienne, Williams, DJ Moore, Godwin, Freiermuth, Richardson. And then on the bench, JT, Ayuk, Deontay, and others. I think you write it out, my man. You're in a great spot to contend this next year. And we have, these long-term options as well with like Herbert, Gibbs, Anthony Richardson. Or, we're not necessarily in a spot where, we don't have the security in the long term if things go wrong. Teddy says 12-team PPR 1 flex. We have Herbert, CMC, Sanders, Waddle, Ridley, Higbee, Deontay, Lockett. My bench running back depth is weak. What are your thoughts? Just roster more running backs, my man. You have CMC, Miles Sanders at the very top. We're fine at that spot. I would say in general, if we could go through and potentially sell one of these depth wide receivers like Deontay or Lockett to go get either Mike Williams or Keenan Allen to stack with Justin Herbert, I think that'd make a lot of sense. But yeah, you have so many wide receivers at the top end of your roster as well. Just make sure we're not like rostering 7 wide receivers on the bench. Okay. So let's move this over. So DeAndre Hopkins off the board at 47. So that team, Matthew, if y'all don't know Matthew, longtime member of the flock, in year pick 2, going 4 wide receivers out the gate. Maybe a spot, at least in my mind, where it's a little bit harder to get away with this now in comparison to how it used to be. Let's see. Joaquin says, so happy for your growth, Mason. No, my man, thank you so much for being with us for so long. 10-team auction PBR league. Let me know if we should make any moves. We have 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, of flex. 2 flex spots. We have super flex. I'm being stupid. We have Jalen Hurts, CMC, Pollard, A.J. Brown, Amari, Hawkinson, Dotson, Addison, Charbonnet, Elijah Mitchell, Damian Harris, Gus Edwards. Love that we're rostering running backs at the bottom end, that if an injury happens and all of a sudden they can make a difference. Love that we have the Hurts, A.J. Brown stack. We have another tight end that we can go through and we can start every single week regardless of matchup with T.J. Hawkinson. We're not rostering a backup quarterback or backup tight end down there on the bench. 10-team league. Love what we did in this auction. Somehow we afforded CMC and Tony Pollard as well. Your league mates should be embarrassed, to be honest. Ethan says 10-team map PBR at the 7 slot. Started with Bijan, Stephon Diggs, Andrews, Allen. Oh, yeah. Speaking of league mates being embarrassed, your league mates should be embarrassed as well. Mike Williams, Dobbins, Javonte, Dotson, Sutton. Beautiful start. We have the elite running back wide receiver. We have, Allen stacked up with Stephon Diggs. We have a great tight end as well with Mark Andrews. What am I supposed to say? Those are better teams than I've ever drafted in my entire life. Darren Waller off the board, 54. Very interesting to see that team at 6 go through and take both Lamar Jackson and Justin Herbert on the same squad. Very interesting to see that. So now running back, we have Chubb, Mixon. Wide receiver, we have Garrett Wilson and Deebo Samuel. Lockett off the board, pick 55. Hawkinson goes 56. Hawkinson would have been my dream selection at 59. Y'all know I love me some TJ Hawkinson. Madison goes 57. I have plan A and plan B here, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. What's Smitty doing? They go Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor was not in our plans. I think Taylor could have been in our plans if it's Best Ball Mania. We're going up against a lot of other teams. Took him rounds 1, 2, and 3. But here, new tournament, no interest in Jonathan Taylor at this price point. Best Ball Mania, yes. Here, no. So we're going to go ahead. We will take Godwin. We'll lock him in. Especially now, if you look at Godwin versus an injured McLaurin, an injured Jerry Jeudy, while at the same time, you potentially have Mike Evans not on great terms with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and just potentially out the door. I think it makes a lot of sense to go ahead and pull the trigger on Godwin here. Dotson goes pick 60. Okay, what is this team doing? This team is Barkley, Ramondre, wide receiver. They have St. Brown, Christian Watson, and Jahan Dotson. What are you doing, my friend? They go Dobbins. Dobbins was actually going to be our selection. So now that Dobbins is off the board, I think we pivot over and we go with another wide receiver in George Pickens. Not going to be reaching for James Cook or Miles Sanders with this selection. Underdog, you have to start 3 wide receivers and you have a flex. We know these wide receivers will be pushed up later on. So let's just go ahead. Let's grab these guys. Sometimes I'll go Kittle here. Sometimes I'll go Kittle. But Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to hit 300 likes on this live stream. So please, if you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on the stream, help us hit 300. And of course, if y'all are new to Underdog Fantasy, this is definitely the tournament I would recommend for you to get in. It's a $5 buy-in, $250,000 prize pool. Obviously, no time commitment at all during the year. So I drafted 700 teams, won $150,000 last year. And if you sign up to Underdog with promo code FLOCK, you're going to get a 100% deposit match up to $100, plus our 2023 fantasy football rankings, a free trial to flockfantasy.com. And now is the perfect time to get on Underdog Fantasy because there's a site-wide special. Patrick Mahomes more than less than half a total yard against the Detroit Lions on Thursday night. There's a Flock exclusive special only for people who use promo code FLOCK on Underdog with Josh Allen more than less than half a passing yard on Monday night against the Jets. And then last but not least, there's also a new mystery pick'em special for new members on Underdog. I've never seen Underdog Fantasy have two special pick'ems the same week, let alone three. So please make sure y'all are taking advantage of that while you still can. But Matt coming out says, Mason, please help with your Jedi fantasy knowledge. For my flex, do I play Dotson against Arizona or Pacheco against Detroit? Thanks, man, and keep up the amazing work. No, thank you so much, my dude. So great matchup if you're going to be looking at what you have against the Arizona Cardinals. I mean, this should be just a horrendous team, right? Where the Washington Commanders should be able to move the ball down the field. Now, I will say if it's going to be a full PPR format, I think you pivot over to the wide receiver who's obviously going to get the target volume with Jahan Dotson. Whereas if it's going to be like a non-PPR or half PPR format, I think you're going to be a little more inclined to go with the player that's going to be a better offense, possibly has a higher touchdown ceiling with Isaiah Pacheco. But of course, I'm assuming that Terry McLaurin does not play week 1. Dr. Knocker's out again, says 10-team full PPR double flex. We have Hurts, CMC, St. Brown, Amari, Sanders, Pierce, Mike Williams, and Njoku. And then on the bench, we have Kirk, Flowers, Lazard, Romeo Doubs, Gibson. What are your thoughts? Should we trade for a better tight end? In general, if this is going to be a league where you have two flex spots and our best options down there on the bench are going to be Christian Kirk and Zay Flowers, I don't think we have to trade for a better tight end, but if you really wanted to, you could go through and send like, say, Allen Lazard and David Njoku and somehow get back like Dallas Goedert to stack up with Jalen Hurts. I think that'd make a lot of sense. By no means is it something that we have to do because it's a double flex league. If it was only a single flex league, at that point, I would say, hell yes, you need to trade Kirk and Njoku for a better tight end overall. Okay. Well, let's move this over. And we have Mike Evans off the board, 73. Great value with Mike Evans. I think Evans is like comparable to some of these other wide receivers that we took. I mean, hell, I'd way rather have Evans at least week 1 than George Pickens. Obviously, it's a little bit more dependent on matchup, though. Now, Steve says, Chubb, Cooper, Watson all fell to me. Is that too much of the same team? Should I try to say? No, that's exactly what you want to be doing, my man. You want to go through and you want to make the consolidated bet where the only thing that you have to get right is that the Cleveland Browns offense is better than people are expecting. Where if Deshaun Watson turns back into 2017, 2018, 2019 Deshaun Watson, you win the league. Jeffrey says 12-team non-PPR quarterback, 3 wide receiver, 2 running back, tight end, in a flex. We have Allen, CMC, Gibbs, Kupp, Evans, Hollywood, Najee, Hawkinson. And then on the bench, we have Sutton, Dobbs, Mooney, McKinnon, and Gallup. What are your thoughts? Ton of upside if we have Kupp, Allen, and CMC together. I mean, imagine this team in 2021. Now, I will say if we were going to be looking to go ahead and make, I don't see a clear move to make. You know what? I think you're actually in a very good spot. Reason being is if Kupp doesn't really do anything at the beginning of the year, you should be able to cover him with Courtland Sutton based off what we have with the Jerry Jeudy injury. It'd be much harder if Jerry Jeudy was healthy, right? Where Courtland Sutton wasn't going to be startable in fantasy. But I think we have a clear 1-for-1 fill-in. Cooper Kupp to Courtland Sutton, considering the Jeudy injury and how that team looks as of now. Goddard off the board, 81. Y'all know I take a lot of Dallas Goedert. But also, I'm completely fine taking Kyle Pitts here. I mean, if you're looking at Kyle Pitts in comparison to these wide receivers such as Brandon Cooks, Courtland Sutton, Sky Moore, I think season long, I mean, Kyle Pitts can straight up outscore these wide receivers straight up. Plus, if we get another tight end that we like, we may only have to draft 2 tight ends here, which is obviously something I'm trying to do in underdog drafts in particular. Now, David says 18 PPR 1 flex. We have Hurts, CMC, Pierce, St. Brown, Smith, Watson, Kelsey. And then on the bench, we have Brees, Kamara, Montgomery, Swift, Pittman, Deonta. Thoughts? Thank you for the hardware. No, thank you so much, my friend. I think for now we're going to sit on our hands because we're waiting for the long-term upside of Brees and Kamara to play out. But in an 8-team league in particular, to go through and have CMC, Hurts, and Travis Kelsey, I mean, that's such a dominant team. I mean, 8-team league, really the only thing that matters, of course, is going out there and getting the best tight end, getting the best quarterback because everybody's going to be great at running back and wide receiver. Now, we're going to go ahead. We will take Brandon Cooks here. Reason being is I want to put ourselves in a position where we could potentially be looking at Dak Prescott on the way back around. Now, of course, I don't know if we will be getting Dak Prescott because the CeeDee Lamb team is named Flock Am. So there's a chance that they go ahead and they say, well, Mason, come on, you clown. You think I'm going to let you get Dak Prescott? And they snipe us on Dak. So, yeah, but I do want to give ourselves the ability to go with that quarterback that we really like the weekly ceiling of. So we'll go Cooks. I think the other guy that was in play was DeAndre Swift. Now, Zinowin coming out says 12 team pick 4. Happy BR. Please rate the squad. Quarterback, we have Lawrence. Wide receiver, we have Lamb Williams. Running back, we have Bijan Najee. Tight end, we have Hawkinson. And then in the flexes, we have Kenneth Walker, Cortland Sutton. On the bench, we have Addison, Myers, Romeo Dobbs, Taylor on the IR. Who are we going to be looking to pick up off the waiver wire? Well, if we're going to be looking to drop anybody off the waiver wire, it would be Jacoby Myers. And we'd be looking to pick up some running backs, just given the fact that, this is a league that you only can start up to 4 wide receivers on a week-to-week basis. And we already have CeeDee Lamb at the very top end. Now, if there were any trades that we could look to make, if we could somehow trade like Najee Harris for Travis Etienne and then go out there and just make that consolidated bet on the Jacksonville Jaguars offense with Trevor Lawrence and Etienne, I think that'd be something I'm looking to do. But overall, I think it's a strong team. We have that depth that we're looking for down there in the flex spots, at least in the short term before Judy comes back. Now, Mandy coming out says 10-team PPR, 1 flex. We have Allen, Sanders, Connor, Jefferson, Amari, Andrews, Deontay. And then on the bench, we have Montgomery, Brian Robinson, Khalil Herbert, Zach Charbonnet, Elijah Mitchell, Elijah Moore, and George Pickens. Any moves that you're looking to make? Well, we have the elite level quarterback and tight end, which is what we're looking for in a 10-team league with only 1 flex. So I think we're in a very comfortable position there. I do like that we have the depth down there at RB. If we can find a team that maybe took JT, maybe took Alvin Kamara, that needs a running back at least in the short term, and we can sell them like Brian Robinson and Deontay Johnson in a package and go get a much better wide receiver, I think it could be exciting just because we have so much depth on that roster. Okay. Now, Zach coming out says a 14-team PPR format, 12th pick, 2 wide receivers, 1 flex. We have Burrow, Chubb, Akers, Brown, DJ Moore, the year 2 tight end Tennessee, and Drake London. What are your thoughts? Specifically because it's a 14-team format, it's okay. If this was like a 10-team, 12-team league, I would not be about it at all, my man. 14-team format, I'm going to be a little bit more willing to punt tight ends. I really hope that we have some running backs, wide receivers down on the bench that we like, and hopefully we're rostering 2 tight ends as well. A league that you only start 2 wide receivers, 1 flex, tight end's going to make up a high percentage of your starting lineup output. But like I said, 14-team formats, since it'll be harder to get wide receivers and running backs that you like, fine punting the position. But Viper Slasher coming out, thank you, my friend, says 10-team PPR, 1 flex. We have Jalen Hurts at quarterback. Running back, we have CMC, Josh Jacobs. Wide receiver, we have Smith stacked up with Hurts. We have Amari, we have London. Kittle, we have at tight ends. And then on the bench, Kamara, Dobbins, Freiermuth, Dotson, Flowers, Charbonnet, Richardson for trade value early. I despise 2 stacks starting. Kittle / wide receiver for a wide receiver 1 or better tight end. So if you are going to go ahead and look to make that move, I think that the trade that we'd be looking to make is possibly like Jahan Dotson, right? Because if you're looking at Dotson, this is a wide receiver that should have a nice role at the beginning of the season, considering the injury that you have with Terry McLaurin. But if you're not starting Jahan Dotson right now, are we ever really going to be looking to start Jahan Dotson? Like, if he's not making a difference for you at this point, I think that it makes sense to try to see if we can package him with like George Kittle, go out there and get TJ Hawkinson, go get a tight end that we can start every single week regardless of matchup. Now, with that being said, I do like George Kittle overall, and I don't think it's a move that we have to make. But we're elite at quarterback. We have CMC and Jacobs at running back. We have so much wide receiver depth. So it's a move that we can afford to make, if that makes sense. Now, Charbonnet off the board, 104. Dak goes 105. Like I said, I was kind of expecting that the team that took CeeDee Lamb went through and sniped us on Dak Prescott. Still think it was the right call to go through and put ourselves in a position where we could potentially stack Dak Prescott and Brandon Cooks, because I generally like taking quarterbacks in this range. We will go ahead and we'll take Dylan. We kind of need another running back here that we can feel comfortable with. We know running backs are going to fall off quicker now than they used to, just based off the landscape of the position and all the injuries we have. Okay, what is this team looking to do? They go Daniel Jones, 108. They go David Njoku. I honestly wanted Njoku because we went Njoku. I was going to be fine at tight ends. Quarterback, none of these guys correlate with us. Wide receiver, I mean, we don't really need a position. I guess we'll just take Jalen Warren. I was really wanting David Njoku on the way back around. That way we only had to take 2 tight ends. Now having Kyle Pitts, they're like the 7-8 turn. We're probably going to have to take 3 tight ends and 3 quarterbacks, which is always a position that we do not want to find ourselves in. I mean, it is what it is. I feel like we kind of got dealt crap hand in this draft, but we will definitely be hopping into more drafts after this on this live stream, ladies and gentlemen. And real quick, we are 1 like away from hitting 400 likes on this stream. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been live streaming for 130 days in a row at this point. At the same time, I mean, I think this is our 5 or 6 today of streaming. I think it's our 6 of live streaming. So please, if you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on this stream. I'm pulling up on my phone myself so I can be the 400th like of this live stream. Now, JJ says 10-team PPR double flex. We have Bijan, Chubb, St. Brown, Devonta Smith, Justin Fields, DJ Moore, Pat Freiermuth, Dotson, and then on the bench, we have Swift, Kirk, Algier, Penny, Gabe Davis. How are we going to be looking to upgrade? We have the Fields, DJ Moore stack. We have running backs with upside down there on the bench. It's a 2-flex league where 2-for-1 deals are a little bit less appealing. I think if we really wanted to, we could wait until Dotson starts off strong with no McLaurin. And then at that point, if we wanted to package together, say, Dotson and Freiermuth to get to a tight end like TJ Hawkinson, we can go ahead and do it just because we're so strong elsewhere. But not anything we have to do, my friend. Okay. Let's go ahead and let's move this around. Justin coming out says 10-team PPR start 3 wide receivers and a flex. Quarterback, we have Allen. Running back, we have Brees, Mixon, Swift, Brian Robinson, Zach Charbonnet. Wide receiver, we have A.J. Brown, Devontae Adams, and Monroe. Oh my gosh, phenomenal team. Christian Watson, Sutton, Bateman, Jameson, Tank Dell, tight end Kyle Pitts. What are your thoughts? Great team top to bottom, but the thing is, we start off with A.J. Brown, Devontae Adams, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. We have 3 round 1 wide receivers with this roster. We are in a position where like guys like Tank Dell, Jameson Williams, they're never going to make a difference for us. I would way rather be rostering backup running backs with those picks. So drop Tank Dell, drop Jameson Williams, especially if you can't put Jameson on the IR. Go pick up 2 running backs off the waiver wire. I mean, we went super heavy wide receiver early, which I like in a format where we have to start 3 and we can start up to 4. But generally, when we go super heavy there at wide receiver, we just don't need to be rostering like 7 of these guys. Because how the hell does Tank Dell literally ever get in the starting lineup? It can't happen. It's impossible. So go through, drop those 2 wide receivers at the bottom end, pick up some running backs with upside. And if we could sell Cortland Sutton for like a Gabe Davis to get the Josh Allen stack, I'd like that as well. Muhammad coming out again says 12-team PPR redraft double flex. We have Watson, Richardson, Gibbs, Taylor, Charbonnet, Mitchell, Chase, Adams, Waddle, Christian Watson, JSN, Flowers, and Laporta. What are your thoughts? I mean, we can't be going into the season with Sam Laporta at tight end. I mean, the issue is you just literally don't know if this is a rookie tight end that's going to break out or not and when it would happen. I'm fine if you roster him as a tight end 2 for the upside that he has later on in the year with a pretty good situation in Detroit. But to go through and try to start him before we even see a breakout, I don't want to start rookie wide receivers before a breakout, let alone a rookie tight end. I would love to go through and see if we can pick up an extra tight end to start early on. Now, the issue is this team just has so many freaking rookies where you have Richardson, Gibson, Charbonnet, JSN, Flowers, Sam Laporta. Or, we just don't know if we're going to be able to have the production at the beginning of the season, even if we love the long-term upside. Jameson goes 127. Let's swing this back around. McKinnon goes 129. Let's see what T. Smitty decides to do. I think it's probably pretty obvious what we want to do, right? He goes, Higbee, thank God we're going to be getting Aaron Rodgers to stack with Garrett Wilson. We really need a quarterback. We're preferably trying to get a quarterback here that correlates with our roster just a bit. So going to Rodgers makes a lot of sense. Devon Achane was going to be our next selection if he made it to us. But now that he's gone, just looking at how the teardrop is specifically at the running back position, I'm going to go ahead and get Damian Harris here, 134. I know we're reaching a bit, but on the way back around, the running backs that are going to be most appealing for us, Tajay Spears, Deion Jackson, Condre Miller, Devin Singletary. Like Damian Harris is like the last kind of running back in this tier, at least that we have access to because we're not going to be picking for so long. So I'm fine going ahead and reaching for a running back at this point. But iShine coming out and says, my man, the Flockster. What'd you think? Happy BR, 12-team league. I picked from the 6th spot. We have Tyreek, Ramondre, Ridley, Burrow, Kittle, Montgomery, Dotson, Mostert, Sutton, Bateman, Deion Jackson, Cousins, and Higbee. My man, first off, thank you so much for being with us for years now, my man. You know I really, really do appreciate you. Now, with this team, from a construction standpoint, I think that we have a lot of upside. I like having Burrow and Kittle, these guys that we can start every single week regardless of matchup. Based off Kittle's injury history, based off maybe him having a little bit of a lower floor, I'm fine if we want to roster the backup tight end in Tyler Higbee. I don't know if we want to backup quarterback whenever we have Joe Burrow, though. Cousins is too good to straight up cut. If we could potentially sell like Cousins and Dotson in a package after week 1 to potentially go out there and upgrade at wide receiver, I think that could be interesting. Another potential move that we could look to make is if we can try to sell Mostert in a package with like Sutton to go get a long-term upgrade there to a team that maybe drafted Jonathan Taylor, to a team that maybe drafted Alvin Kamara. That's going to be a little bit more desperate for running back production at the very beginning of the season, where we're personally not whenever we have those guys at the top end. I think Mostert could also be an interesting sell-high candidate just because we can extract some value from him now when we maybe don't even need him. But I think that's what we're looking to do, my friend. I mean, overall, not big time moves. I do like the roster. And yeah, I think we're in a great spot. Now, Justin coming out says 10-team super flex 4-point passing touchdown format. We have Allen and Hurts. Oh my gosh. GG. Game over. Waddle, Olave, Hall, Pierce, London, Schultz. Benches, Kamara, Hollywood, Swift, Ayuk, Elijah, Mitchell. What do you want me to say, my man? It's a super flex format. We have Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts. We have 2 of the top 3 overall scoring players in fantasy this next season. An incredibly high floor ceiling combo. Great team. Great team. There's nothing we can do. Chandler says, admire the dedication to the craft, brother. Thank you, my man. Question, do you think Waddle as a wide receiver 2 makes more sense starting with a vet like Kupp or Hopkins? I don't care. I would be fine having Waddle as my wide receiver 1. If we have good enough quarterback with tight end production, I'd be fine having Waddle as my wide receiver 1, to be honest. Achille the Great says, Flock, any advice? CMC, Dalvin, Kamara, Jamal, Kittle, Kincaid, Lamb, Pittman, Higgins, Cooks, Burks, love Richardson. Fine having these 2 quarterbacks because, I mean, both guys have low floors but high ceilings. Dalvin to cover the Kamara production in the beginning of the season, as well as Jamal. Very well-balanced roster. I mean, it really just comes down to, do we get the breakout from Anthony Richardson? And does Anthony Richardson's rushing upside come through as we expect? Mr. Filthy Wub says, any idea why Waller is ranked higher than Dallas Goedert? He's not in my rankings on flogfantasy.com. I mean, Darren Waller is the player that has been the most hyped. Right or wrong, you can determine that, but we can all agree over the past 2 to 3 weeks, there's not been a player more hyped in fantasy football than Darren Waller. It's very reminiscent of what we had with like Cortland Sutton last year, where everybody in the fantasy football community goes through and they determine, this is my guy. I love him. Everybody and their mom is all in on Darren Waller. It's a great situation. I mean, I do want to say it's a little cult-like at this point. Just given the fact, like, you can't say anything bad about him. If I say anything bad about him, like, people get emotionally invested. People get mad at me. But if we are going to be fair, we can say Darren Waller has declined for 3 straight seasons now, and pretty much every key metric you're looking for. But to be fair, it's a phenomenal situation. Of course, you'd have a hard time finding a better situation than the New York Giants for Darren Waller. Now, we're going to go ahead. We're going to take Jonathan Mingo. I mean, we do need to be in a spot where we potentially set up some quarterback stacks later on. So Mingo here, we do put ourselves in a position where we could potentially go Bryce Young later in the draft. Hyatt off the board, 156. You know, I'm fine if people want to hype up Darren Waller because at one point he was an elite level tight end and he is in a beautiful, beautiful situation. it just more so comes down to like, can we at least admit that there are red flags, you know? Can we please not try to put this guy in the same tier as Andrews? Can we please not try to rank this guy over Hawkinson? My primary issue with Waller is not people ranking him over Goddard. You do you. I think they're in the same tier. But to go through and rank him over Hawkinson is crazy in my mind. Now, Cruz coming out and says, 10-team at PBR, Jefferson and Cup, wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, and Derrick Henry. Oh, beautiful. Sanders, we have Hawkinson, Tua, Kirk at quarterback. Do I trade for a better quarterback or do you think I'll be all right? 1 QB format, I think you trade for a better QB, but I'd probably rather wait until we get Cooper Kupp back so we have a little more depth at wide receiver. But I mean, we just have so much freaking upside with that team. Love the squad, my man. Okay. Now, Lucky Ace says, how PBR, Lawrence, Lockett, Olave, Chubb, Pierce, Walker, Kelsey, McLaurin, Judy, Hollywood, Brian Robinson, and A.J. Dillon. I don't love having the combination of McLaurin and Judy on the same roster. We do have enough depth at wide receiver to get by, though. I'd just say once we get either Judy or Hollywood back, we have so much depth with this team. I'd love to go through and like package together like Judy and Brian Robinson for a running back upgrade. But I do want to wait until we at least have one of those players back. Because, I mean, right now, dealing with a couple of injuries, and it's going to be difficult for us to make those 2-for-1 deals. Okay. But now, Give More Out Again says, 10-team full PBR, Hurts, CMC, ETN, Dobbins, Herbert, Jefferson, Christian Watson, Pittman, Flowers, Dotson, Kirk. I traded ETN for Waddle and Hopkins. Good move. I think it's a great move, my man. In general, 10-team league, especially if it's going to be a one with only one flex, you do want to be pushing down depth wide receivers. So I'd say like DeAndre Hopkins doesn't mean much, but I mean, especially if we can turn around, like package Hopkins and J.K. Dobbins together, get an upgrade at RB. Beautiful spot to get Waddle there, my man. Okay. But Kyle says 10-team PPR format where we have Lamar at QB, running back, we have Mixon, Madison, wide receiver, we have Lamb, Smith, tight end, we have Kelsey, we have London in the flex, and then on the bench, we have Sky Moore, Gabe Davis, Deontay Johnson, Cortland Sutton, and James Cook. Beautiful team. Only thing is, I'd probably rather roster another running back down there on the bench rather than this many wide receivers. But if we could like package together, say Sutton and anybody else in the lineup, Sutton and Alexander Madison, go get a slight upgrade at RB, or even go like Deontay Johnson, Alexander Madison, get a better upgrade at running back, go get Travis Etienne, and then pick up another running back off the waiver wire. I freaking love the team. I mean, having Lamar and Kelsey is just such a cheat code in the 10-team league with one flex. Matt says, flex spot, Breece Hall or Montgomery, happy BR format. I'd way rather a Breece Hall long-term, but I mean, week 1, while we're waiting and we don't know the role, I would go ahead and I would take David Montgomery. Rich says, pick 3 to start, Moore, Hopkins, London, and Dotson. I'm going to go Dotson, Hopkins, and DJ Moore, especially I think you have to push Hopkins up with the injury that Burks has been dealing with for pretty much a month now. Okay, so let's swing this back around. In terms of quarterbacks that we could be looking to take with stacks, Baker, we could go with Bryce Young. We could go Tannehill. Stafford doesn't do a lot for us here. Stafford goes 175. Okay. What are you doing here, my friend? What are you doing? They go Everett 176. I mean, tight end rankings are just completely different than how they used to be. It's been a complete 180 at tight end. So Parker may get a bump up. I mean, the report came out that Juju Smith-Schuster has been diagnosed with some knee thing where it could, quote unquote, literally explode at any time. So I think possibly we bump up Devontae Parker. If he looks like he may be the de facto wide receiver 1 for the New England Patriots. And then on the way back around, we're most likely looking to go Bryce Young here to stack with DJ Chark. And then after this, we're going to go ahead and hop into another draft, ladies and gentlemen. I think we're just probably going to do puppy drafts today on the live stream. Because I know most people are excited to get into puppy drafts with us. So let's make our Bryce Young selection. I'll keep you posted what we do in the last 2 rounds. But we are going to be getting into another Puppy tournament on Underdog. Like I said, if you are new to Underdog Fantasy and you want to get in a best ball draft before the season starts, this is by far and away the best tournament I would recommend for you. It is a $5 buy-in, $250,000 prize pool, $25,000 for first. We actually had a member of the flock win a puppy tournament last year and win $75,000. But keep in mind, these are best ball drafts, so no time commitment at all during the year. Not replacing your main fantasy football league, just meant to be some extra fun on the side. And yeah, we're going to be here at pick 9. I think we'll like pick 9 a little bit more than 11. And of course, if you want to get in one of these drafts with us in the live stream, whether that's today, tomorrow, the next day, the next day, the next day, you can find the link in the live chat in the description in the comment section. Now is also the best time to get on Underdog Fantasy because they have a site-wide Patrick Mahomes special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard against the Detroit Lions Thursday night, week 1. There is also on top of this a exclusive Josh Allen special pick'em on Underdog Fantasy, more than less than half a passing yard against the Jets on Monday night. And there's, for new members of Underdog, an additional mystery pick'em special. I've never seen Underdog do 2 special pick'ems the same week, let alone 3. So please make sure you are taking advantage of that while you can. You're only going to get all 3 with code FLOCK and a link in the live chat description comment section. But Lone Lion coming out says, rate the draft in a 10-team PBR man format. We have Fields, Adams, Devonta, Barkley, Stevenson, Ingram, DJ Moore, Mike Williams, White, Dillon, P. Ryan, Juju, Mitchell, and Bigsby. Thanks, man. Great team. Love the depth overall. I think we can't afford to upgrade tight end here. I don't want to trade DJ Moore since we have Moore stacked up with Justin Fields. But if we could go like Mike Williams and package him with Evan Ingram to somehow get to like the TJ Hawkinson level tight ends, my friend, I think that would be a really, really nice spot to be in. But Anthony coming out with our next question says, I got pick 10 in a 10-team full PBR format where we only have 1 flex. What should be my plan of attack? So if it's going to be a 10-team league where you can only start 2 wide receivers and 1 flex, you're going to get phenomenal wide receiver values in the middle rounds. So I definitely think you want to stay flexible overall, but don't go ahead and go wide receiver out the gate in that format just because you aren't going to be able to take advantage of those middle round wide receiver values that we really want if you do that. So instead, I'd look to go flexible, best player available, at least 1 running back through the first 2 rounds. And I would love to go with an elite level quarterback and an elite level tight end at the 3-4 turn. If we go like Lamar and Andrews, I think that make a lot of sense. Now, Jacob says 12-team PPR where we have Jackson, Eckler, Gibbs, Olave, Lockett, and Njoku, and Dotson at the flex. On the bench, we have Kamara, Pickens, Gibson, Elijah Moore. How are we looking? Great in the long term once we get Kamara back in at running back. I mean, I like that it's a full PBR format considering the fact that we go out there and we essentially just prioritize running backs that are going to bring the majority of their value as receivers. Yeah, a much better team in a full PPR format than it would be in like a non-PPR league. But Blake Wheeler, longtime member of the flock, says, hey, Mason, I'm back. 10-team at PBR, 2 wide receivers, 1 flex. We have Herbert, Gibbs, Pierce, Jefferson, St. Brown, Freiermuth, Williams, Dobbins, Swift, Flowers, JSN, Warren Collins. Any advice? Okay. 10-team league. We can only start up to 3 wide receivers. Wide receiver depth's not going to matter. If we're looking at the wide receiver depth that we have on this team in particular, I mean, we have Flowers, JSN. These guys aren't going to break out till later on in the year. We have Mike Williams as a wide receiver. I like this team. I don't think we're rostering too many wide receivers outside of maybe Nico Collins. If we could cut Nico Collins and still manage to get someone that we're excited about at like running back, I think that'd be interesting. I'm trying to come up with anything here. I like the Herbert Williams stack. It's just that we have like Jefferson and Amon-Ra St. Brown at wide receiver, right? And it's a 10-team league where you only have 2 wide receivers and 1 flex. You're most likely incentivized to go ahead and optimize to try to get as many high upside running backs down there on the bench. Okay, so now Big Bro Joe coming out says, I am team 4 with you. How is it so far? Let me go ahead and pull up team 4 in the last draft, my man. Thank you so much for drafting with us. Going to be super excited to check this team out. So this is the team that took Deontay Foreman in the last round. You went Tua, Geno at quarterback. We got Geno at a pretty nice value. We have Kenneth Walker, Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon, Taj Spears, Deontay Foreman at RB. Probably go ahead and take a 6 running back here with this team if it makes sense around 18. Wide receiver, oh, this is beautiful. We have Tyreek Waddle paired together on this squad, double stacked with Tua. I love this team, my man. Down there on tight end, we have Ingram, Schultz, Taysom. Yeah, the only thing is I personally probably go 6 RBs, but a great team. Now, Cup makes it all the way down to 22, ladies and gentlemen. If this was a Best Ball Mania draft on Underdog, I probably would have pulled the trigger on Cup at 16. But with this being a new tournament, we don't have to think about where Cup was drafted. Back in I'd say April, May, June, July, in terms of how we're considering our selection of Pollard versus Cup here. And ladies and gentlemen, we are 1 like away from hitting 600 likes on this live stream. So please, if you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on the stream. Help us get to 600. I think we're going on like 6-7 hours of total live hours. Total live streamed hours today. So you can tell I'm mentally breaking down. But 10-team non-PBR where we only have to have 1 flex. We have Mahomes, hell yes, non-PBR format. We are going to be incentivized. Go out there and get the elite level quarterback. Wide receiver, we have Olave, Mike Williams. Running back, we have Dameon Pierce, James Conner. We have Kelsey at tight end. Beautiful. Hopefully we have more running backs and wide receivers on the bench. We have Hall, Watson, Pickens, Dotson, Thielen, Richardson. Definitely drop Adam Thielen. I think you can have Richardson if you think you can sell him high early on in the season. But with Adam Thielen, non-PBR format, not going to make a difference here. We definitely would just want another running back with upside. But overall, love the Mahomes and Kelsey stack. And hopefully we can sell Richardson high later on. Toxic Mix says, hope I didn't botch this draft. It's a 12-team app PBR league with 2 wide receivers, 1 flex from 5. We have Daniel Jones, Sam Howell at quarterback. Running back, we have Pollard, Etienne, Hall, Brian Robinson, Tank Bigsby, Elijah Mitchell. Wide receiver, we have Chase, Ridley, Williams, Bateman, Van Jefferson. We have Hawkinson at tight end. Got quarterback sniped all night. Yeah, so quarterback is disgusting here, my man. At least we have 2 quarterbacks with upside, right? With Daniel Jones and Sam Howell, but by no means is this like Mahomes, Allen, Hurts team. We're in a good spot because somehow we got Chase and Pollard on the same team in a 12-team format. I don't really see how that happens. Ridley round 3 is nice. Breece Hall for the long-term upside. And we have Hawkinson as well. So I like it. I agree. We definitely want to be rostering 2 quarterbacks here. We want to possibly be playing the matchups if Sam Howell does break out. Yeah, great team. I think great team everywhere but quarterback. Hopefully, like Breece Hall turns into an elite level running back. Then at that point, we can sell a depth RB and get an upgrade at QB. But we're going to be waiting for the Breece Hall breakout before we do that. Allen goes 29. It would have been beautiful to get Josh Allen back around at 33. It probably would have never happened, right? Because the Diggs team was right ahead of us. DJ Moore off the board, 31. I'm never looking to take DJ Moore here, so I'm fine seeing him go. Okay. What does C-Word decide to do? They went Diggs and Adams out the gate. They go Travis Etienne here at 32. So we'll take Andrews. I don't draft Andrews very often just because I feel like it's hard in underdog drafts in particular to make Andrews teams work. I definitely say in your regular redraft league, you want an elite level tight end. But here in underdog drafts, it's harder to find wide receiver and running back values later on than your regular redraft league. And Zafir coming out says, hey, Mason, 10-team non-PBR. We have Fields, Watson, a quarterback. Wide receiver, we have Wilson, Amon-Ra St. Brown. I love Amon-Ra St. Brown in a full PBR format. Non-PBR, I think I would actually rather pivot to a wide receiver that's a little bit more vertical with how he plays. Pickens, JSN, running back, we have CMC, Walker, Hall, Swift, Charbonnet, and Elijah Mitchell. What are your thoughts? I like the team overall. Just going back to what we're talking about, looking at like player prototypes, I think Amon-Ra St. Brown is probably someone that we want in a full PBR format, or maybe it would be better off with someone like A.J. Brown in a non-PBR league, right? Where he's in a better offense, more touchdown upside, and more vertical, big play player overall. If you're looking at what you're going to get with Amon-Ra St. Brown, wide receiver operating super close to the line of scrimmage, where he will be able to go through and he'll be able to just rack up a crap ton of receptions and targets for you. But that's not as valuable in a non-PPR league. Okay, Deebo Samuel off the board at 37. Sprinkle says, rate the draft. We have Tua, CMC, Najee, Garrett Wilson, Jerry Jeudy, Hollywood, Pitts, Swift, Addison, Goff. I'm fine having Goff and Tua. We got them late, right? Play the matchups between the two. Both of them are in great matchups week 1. Roshan, Brian Robinson, Adam Thielen, and Gabe Davis down there on the bench. I think Adam Thielen's definitely an interesting player in like best ball drafts on Underdog because he could randomly spike into your starting lineup. However, if you're going to look at what you potentially have in terms of like your regular redraft league, you'll literally never know when to go through and start that guy. So I'd probably rather find someone else outside of Adam Thielen for your bench. I don't know if he has the upside to make a difference here in this kind of format, especially when we have the wide receivers at the very top like Garrett Wilson, right? So I'd probably rather roster backup tight ends than Adam Thielen if our tight end wants Kyle Pitts. But Big Times Break says 10-team PPR, 1 flex. When we get running back with JT out, should I trade Hawkinson and Pickens for Jacobs and Hopkins? Hell yeah, my man. I love Hawkinson, but we're doing this no-brainer. I Freiermuth as my backup currently. Yeah, go ahead and do this deal. I mean, it's a no-brainer. Pickens, Hopkins, same tier. Hawkinson to Jacobs, massive upgrade, especially if we need a running back, and we have Freiermuth. Beautiful. Now, Neek's coming out, says 12-team PPR. We have Fields, CMC, J.K. Dobbins, Waddle, Ridley, Kincaid, Moore. And then on the bench, we have London, Addison, Burks, Richardson, Devon H. Tony, Bateman. Tight end trade or go for running back depth. I mean, I definitely don't want to be starting Dalton Kincaid right away. I mean, it would be nice if we could at least pick up another tight end and be keeping Dalton Kincaid on the bench for the long-term upside. The issue with this team is it seems like we're only centered around long-term upside with a lot of these guys. And we have so many wide receivers down there on the bench. I wouldn't mind at all if we wanted to go through and see if we could like package together, say, Rashad Bateman and Dalton Kincaid, though, to see if we can get to a tight end that we like a little bit more, that we know we can start right away. I think Kincaid has a lot of upside for the long term, but going back to what we were talking about previously, can't rely on rookie tight ends at the beginning of the season. If we could get like Freiermuth, I think that makes sense. Okay. Burrow goes 48 to the team that took Chase. Interesting to see that team go Chase and Higgins here over Jefferson. Of course. Could be a Cincinnati Bengals fan. Now, OC Fussell coming out and says, 10-team PPR, 2 wide receivers, 1 flex. We have Lamar, Pollard, Walker, Tyreek, Ridley, Lockett, Andrews, the Ravens defense. And then on the bench, we have Dobbins, Mike Williams, Dalvin, Addison, Odell, Geno, and Kadarius Toney. We don't need to be rostering 2 quarterbacks here. If we have Lamar Jackson, we're just going to start Lamar every single week regardless. I drop Geno, look for a running back with upside off the waiver wire. On top of that, I think if we're going to be looking to make a move, I think potentially if we have both Dobbins and Dalvin on the bench, Dalvin all of a sudden becomes expendable to one of those teams that maybe drafted Kamara or drafted Jonathan Taylor that needs a little bit more running back depth. So if we could trade them like Dalvin and Tyler Lockett to get a wide receiver upgrade, I think that could be interesting. But great team with Lamar and Andrew stack. Isaiah says 10-team PPR where we have Cousins, Fields, Aaron Jones, Eckler, Keenan Allen, Cooper Kupp, Dalton Schultz, Jerry Jeudy. Tough spot to have Jeudy and Kupp on the same roster. We have at least Mostert and Dalvin Cook for the role at the beginning of the season. Sanders and Ayuk. Should I try to trade for a tight end? So honestly, if we have Schultz here, I think we're going to be fine at the beginning of the season. I definitely want to be rostering multiple tight ends though. So if we could trade, say, Kirk Cousins in a 2-for-1 deal, maybe like Jerry Jeudy, just get a wide receiver that's going to produce for us at the beginning of the season. Then with that open up roster 2 tight ends, I think that'd be nice. You'll know a lot of times, like I'm telling people to go through, drop the backup tight end. You only want to roster 1. That's when we have Hawkinson. That's when we have Kelsey. That's when we have, Andrews. If you have Dalton Schultz, instead of trading for a better tight end, you could always just go through and you could always just roster 2 of those guys. Okay. Now let's move this over. What are we doing here, ladies and gentlemen? J.K. Ooper on the clock. Long time member of the flock, I believe. They go Jahan Dotson, 55. Not going to blame them at all with Dotson's role with the Terry McLaurin injury early on. George Pickens goes. We're going to go ahead. We will take Tyler Lockett. Best ball mania maybe a little bit different. Maybe we're a little more inclined to go with someone like McLaurin or Taylor where they just never went this late previously. But here I don't really care about where they went previously. I just want to go ahead and get someone we can feel confident with. Okay, Godwin goes 59. Peyton coming out says 10-team full BBR. We have Allen, Chase, Wilson, DK, Pierce, Dobbins with Schultz at tight end. At the bench, we have Madison, Pickens, say Flowers, Montgomery, Sky Moore. What are your thoughts? Really like the bottom end of the roster that we have guys that we're going to get clarity on early on. Like Sky Moore, we're going to get to see his role on Thursday and see if he's actually an every down player for the Kansas City Chiefs. Hopefully we get a sell high moment. But outside of that, I think we do have enough depth overall at running back with Madison and Montgomery that in this kind of league, it's a 10-team 1 flex where we have these top end running backs. We could potentially go ahead and look to trade like Madison and Dalton Schultz to go get like a TJ Hawkinson level tight end. Generally in 10-team 1 flex format, you can always afford to go get that elite level tight end if you have that running back depth. Taylor off the board at 60. Not necessarily looking at Taylor here, so I'm trying to see him go. Evans goes 61. Okay. What are y'all doing here? How far does McLaurin fall before we have to be interested? McLaurin goes 62, so we don't even give it the thought process. I think I know who we end up going with. Probably going to be a surprise for some people. Well, y'all are taking this down to the very low. Are y'all trying to snipe me? Are y'all waiting to hear who I say? We're going to go ahead. We're going to take J.K. Dobbins. Reason being is just running backs are so much harder to get later on these underdog drafts than they used to be. Like at the very end of underdog drafts, I'd rather have some of those running back values in comparison to the wide receivers. But now it's almost the exact opposite, just based off all the injuries that we have seen across the board, right? It's so much harder to find running back values that you like. Let's move this over. And ladies and gentlemen, we are 4 likes away. Now only 3 likes away from hitting 700 likes on this stream. So please, if you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like for your boy. I mean, we've been live for, at this point, like 6 hours today. And of course, if you want to get in our next draft, whether that's tonight, tomorrow, the next day, you can find a link to Underdog Fantasy in the live chat in the description section, in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, they're going to match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to 100. Plus, you'll get our 2023 fantasy football rankings, a free trial to flockfantasy.com where you can find all our premium content. And now is the best time to get on Underdog because they have the Puppy 4 dropped. $5 best ball tournament, no time commitment during the year. So I drafted 700 teams, won $150,000 last year. And also, they have an a site-wide Patrick Mahomes special, more than less than half a total yard against the Detroit Lions on Thursday night. A Flock exclusive special, more than less than half a passing yard for Josh Allen on Monday night. And if you are new to Underdog Fantasy, an additional mystery special pick'em. I've never seen Underdog do 3 pick'ems the same week. Literally, I've never seen them do 2. This never happens. So please make sure you are taking advantage of this if you have not done so already. But let's move this over. And our next question coming out from Ubra says, 10-team, 1 flex. We have CMC, Eckler, Lamar. Beautiful. How the hell does that even happen? Amari, Deontay, Pierce, Ingram. And then on the bench, we have Pittman, Dotson, Richardson, White, Brian Robinson, Bateman, Elijah Mitchell. Went RB and quarterback focus. Ideas on how to improve, or is this solid? If we get a sell-high moment on Anthony Richardson, I think that would be definitely interesting. Solid team overall. We have a lot of wide receiver depth where we can afford to move Dotson and Ingram if we wanted to get an elite level tight end. I mean, hell, if we could trade like Deontay Johnson and Evan Ingram to go get Mark Andrews to stack with Lamar, that'd be a no-brainer. But phenomenal team. Having CMC and Eckler on the same build, it's like a cheat code. Now, Josh coming out says 12-team PPR format where we have Lamar, Bijan, Javonte, Christian Watson, Evans, Kittle, Jamal, Dotson, Goff, Zeke, JT, Lazard, Jacoby Myers, and the Commanders defense. Okay. Really nice having Jamal and JT on the same roster. That way we can cover for the lack of production from JT early on. We have the wide receivers with upside. We have an elite level quarterback that we're going to start regardless of matchup. Great team. I don't think there's really anything we can change with that. I love that team. Okay. Goddard off the board at 78. Let's go ahead and let's swing this back around. So you have Brandon Cooks going 79. Right now we're sitting with Pollard, Ramondre, J.K. Dobbins at running back. Wide receiver, we have A.J. Brown, Tyler Lockett. Tight end, we have Andrews. Get really lucky to get Michael Pittman. Michael Pittman is wide receiver 40, is actually, in my mind, one of the best wide receiver values that you're going to get right now. And this is coming from someone who literally never drafted Michael Pittman last year. I mean, it was so much harder to pay that price tag for him. Pitts goes 83. We're not as excited about Pitts when we have Andrews, of course. Now, Feudalist coming out says 10-team app BBR1 flex. We have Mahomes, Garrett Wilson, Keenan, Hall, Higbee, Akers, McLaurin, JSN, Jamal, Sky Moore, Laporta, JT, Deontay Johnson. What are your thoughts? 1 flex, 10-team league. My first reaction is always, let's go ahead and let's see if we can upgrade the running back position or the tight end position. Here, I think that we're in a good spot, at least early on when we have Jamal Williams. We can't really make any moves because we're waiting on JSN, we're waiting on McLaurin, and we're waiting on JT. So I think it's a team with a lot of upside. We probably have to sit on our hands and try to get by at the beginning of the season right now. Matthew coming out says, should I trade A.J. Brown and ETN for Lamar and McLaurin? Hell to the no, my friend. Hell to the no. I'd rather have A.J. Brown over Lamar, and I'd rather have ETN over McLaurin. Sneakerhead says, would you trade Amari and Waller for Njoku and Olave? I think we can squeeze a little more value for Darren Waller. I think points per game, it honestly kind of makes sense. But I think just knowing what Darren Waller goes for in fantasy football leagues right now, you can squeeze some more value. JB the Texas 14-team BBR Superflex. Hopefully we have great quarterbacks. Superflex league, 14 teams in particular. Super hard to grab quarterback. We have Hurts, A.J. Brown, Pollard, Brees, Richardson. Oh, if we have Hurts and Richardson, great team, especially that value on Richardson. Godwin, Dobbins, Dotson, Addison, Laporta, Sam Howell, Ford, Hall, Mingo, Nico Collins. Beautiful team. I don't even think we change anything with this squad. I mean, obviously, I would like a better tight end, but I mean, it's a 14-team format, right? We got to punt something. And having Hurts and Anthony Richardson, assuming it's a 4-point passing touchdown league, is so damn nice. Now, we're going to go ahead. We will take Rachaad White as our RB4. Yeah, we're taking our RB4 before our wide receiver for here. But specifically, when we prefer the wide receiver values later on in Underdog compared to some of the running backs right now, I actually do prefer getting Rachaad White at 88, like we said with those tier drops earlier. Burgundy Bets, longtime member of the flock, coming out, says 12-team PPR. 3 wide receivers must start. We have CMC, Gibbs, Akers, Pacheco, Adrian Brown, Olave, Nico, JSN. Quarterback, we have Justin Herbert. Tight end, we have Evan Ingram. $150 league. What are our thoughts? So 3 wide receiver league. I really like having Adrian Brown, Olave at the very top. I mean, it's going to be brutal wide receiver 3 until we get JSN in. But once JSN comes in, we'll be a lot happier about it. CMC, Gibbs, a great spot in a full PPR format. Just obviously these running backs providing the receiving down skill set. I think it's a really strong team in the long term, but the issue is, I mean, in the short term, having Nico Collins there at wide receiver 3, if you could trade like Pacheco and Nico Collins, get a wide receiver like Mike Williams or Keenan Allen to stack with Herbert, just given the fact that, I mean, it's a league where you have to start 3 wide receivers, and maybe a team will be willing to make that move considering the fact that you have, I mean, so many running backs that are injured across the landscape. John coming out says, hey, Mason, 12-team PPR 1 flex. We have Fields, Gibbs, Walker, Chase, Waddle, Ingram, Kincaid on the bench. Like it. Jared, Judy, Javonte. Thoughts on how to improve? Overall, I don't really see much. I'm completely fine rostering Ingram and Kincaid. I think this makes sense to roster Kincaid for the long-term upside if he's our tight end too. We have the elite level wide receivers. We have more than enough running back production. We have a quarterback with a lot of upside. I think it's a great team. I don't think there is a way to improve, at least not on the surface. Okay, so now you have Tony going with 95, Elijah Moore 96. Tony has been rising up a considerable amount with him being good to go week 1, which he should be rising up. I mean, I think he's a much, much, much better price than he was just a month ago. Dalton Wiggs coming out again, says, love the channel, bro. Tips on my 10-team league where we only have 1 flex with a defense spot, so it's a little weird. We have Lamar, St. Brown, Wilson, CMC, Dobbins, Cook, Kincaid, Frymuth, Evans, JSN, Warren, Richardson, and D. James. Okay, so if it's an IDP spot, if you only have to play 1 individual defensive player, I know this has been a little bit more popular as of late. In general, if it's only 1 guy, it does not matter. Where it becomes where it's actually important is if it's as deep as the offensive side of things. If it's an IDP league where you only have to play 1 to 2 individual defensive players, there will always be players on the waiver wire, and I would only want to roster 1 guy, to be honest. And we can make moves on the waiver wire when we need to get one of those players. But we have the elite quarterback. We have great wide receivers at the top. Somehow we have CMC, St. Brown, Garrett Wilson all on the same team. I don't know how that happens. We have running backs with upside. We have Frymuth to play early. Kincaid for the long-term ups. It's a phenomenal team. This is an elite level team. The only thing I would potentially say is if we find ourselves in a position where we can sell high on Anthony Richardson having Lamar Jackson, I go ahead and do it. It's like the only thing I can come up with, my man. That's a great team. Now, we're going to go Charbonnet 105. We're not going to take another running back. I know we've taken running backs early. I know we've taken a lot of them. But honestly, I do not regret it in the slightest, knowing how gross running back gets shortly after this. It's going through and getting someone else that we can be excited about the upside of and the week-to-week floor of as well. Brandon coming out says 12-team PPR where we have CMC, Bijan, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Waddle, Lawrence, Godwin, JT, and Njoku, Christian Kirk, Miles Sanders, Madison, Burks, and Marvin Mims. We have so much running back depth here. CMC, Bijan, Miles Sanders, Madison. Once we get Jonathan Taylor back, then at that point we have to go ahead. We have to try to trade one of these running backs, whether that's Sanders or Madison, in a package with Njoku to get a better tight end, or the package in Lawrence to get a better quarterback. But outside of that, great team, and that's the perfect spot to be rostering Jonathan Taylor, where he's our RB5. We don't even need his production, right? It's just straight upside there. Riley says trade Dalvin and Njoku for White and Evans. What are your thoughts? If we need a wide receiver and we have another tight end, then sure. Okay, so we have some quarterbacks going off the board, so we are not looking at running back here. We're quarterback, wide receiver, tight end. We only have 3 wide receivers, so I mean, definitely wide receiver is in play. We're going to go we're going to go Romeo Doubs specifically so we can set ourselves up with a potential go Jordan Love later on as well, right? I mean, at this point, we need to be looking for some of these stacks that we can have with quarterbacks later on. And maybe Jordan Love is better than people expect. But Stefan says, had a terrible time drafting from pick 9. We have Tua at quarterback, running back Ramadre Najee. Wide receiver, we have Diggs, St. Brown. Tight end, we have Goddard. Kirk on the flex. And then bench Algier, Dillon, Harris, Montgomery, Lazard-Lund. Okay, so this is why I generally say if it's a league where you only have 2 wide receivers, 1 flex, it is a little bit tough to go through and start wide receiver, because it will box us out of taking some of the wide receiver values that we like later in the draft. But I think considering the path that this team took, it makes a lot of sense to do what we did. Specifically down there on the bench, once you go with the elite level wide receivers out the gate with Diggs and St. Brown, to focus in on the bench with Algier, Dillon, Harris, Montgomery, to say maybe if we're a little bit weak at running back at the top right now, we still have the upside later on. We can still have one of those guys hitting. I really like that spot, my man. Now, Eric says, happy BR 14 team 1 flex, pick 5. We have Chase, Smith, Hurts, beautiful Hurts selection. Christian Watson, Dobbins, Pitts, Taylor, Brian Robinson, and then on the bench, we have Elijah Mitchell, Spears, Mims, Hodgins, and Justin Ross. What are your thoughts? I don't want to be rostering 3 wide receivers down on the bench. Like, if you start off your draft Chase and Devonta Smith, I mean, going Mims, Hodgins, and Justin Ross on the bench, I mean, does cap our ceiling a little bit. We really need to prioritize that running back depth, considering the fact that, hell, we have Taylor on the IR. Really, we only have Dobbins and Brian Robinson to start right now. So I would go through and I would probably drop your least favorite wide receiver there at the bottom end, see if we can get another running back. But great team having, I mean, Hurts, Smith stacked up with Jamar Chase in a 14-team format. Okay. Let's move this over. Cousins goes 119. At this point, when we have 5 running backs, we're wanting to see as many running backs off the board as possible. We're 2 likes away from hitting 800 likes on this live stream, ladies and gentlemen. Please, if you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on this stream. And NM coming out says 12-team full BBR league, 1 flex. We have Lamar, Barkley, Walker, Adams, Olave, Kittle, Lockett, Addison, Jamal, Dobbins, Tank, Warren, Tony, Gabe Davis. Should we try to trade for Andrews? It really comes down to, can we afford to trade for Andrews? And honestly, I think we can, especially if you look at the fact that we have Saquon and Kenneth Walker at RB. We have Jamal Williams down there on the bench. If you're telling me that, like, we can find a Mark Andrews team that needs some depth at RB, and we can go and offer him Kittle and Jamal Williams, if they took, like, Jonathan Taylor, if they took Alvin Kamara, maybe that's a move that they actually look to go ahead and make. It's unlikely we can pull it off, but if we can, that'd be beautiful. Throw in Tank just for the hell of it. Julius, happy to see you, my man. Happy to have you back with us this season, and hopefully you're liking your team so far. Now, Zay Jones and Alan Lazard off 123, 124. Nico Collins goes 125. Let's swing this back around. So like I said, at this point, we are not looking at going running back based off the 5 that we took previously. We're just going to be quarterback, wide receiver, and tight end from here on out in this draft. And we only need 1 more tight end, considering the fact that we took Mark Andrews as well. Devon Achane going to 126, pretty much best case scenario for us to see some of these running backs go. Elliott says, 12-team at PBR, we have Hurts, Jefferson, Mixon, Walker, Kittle, Deontay, Khalil Herbert at the flex. On the bench, we have MVS, Adam Thielen, Gabe Davis. I really like the team at the very top, but if we have like Jefferson here at wide receiver, the thing is, those guys down the bench like MVS and Adam Thielen are never going to have the ceiling for us. Go pick up some handcuffed running backs off the waiver wire in case anything changes week 1 with the expectations with these players. Go put yourself in a position where we could potentially have a running back coming off the waiver wire, coming off the bench that's going to actually be able to move the needle for us. Where, I mean, with how good we are at wide receiver there, someone like Adam Thielen's, you're always going to have a million Adam Thielens, a million Marquez Valdez-Scantlings on the bench. On the waiver wire. Nothing's really ever going to change their range of outcomes. X says, rate and what moves could we make in a 12-team league with 1 flex? We have Lamar, Etienne, Kelsey. Love Lamar and Kelsey paired up. Swift, Dotson, Lockett, Evans, Kamara, Jonathan Taylor, Brandon Cooks, Michael Thomas. I don't love having Kamara and Taylor at the same time just because it is going to cap what we can do at the beginning of the season. If we could, oh my gosh, if we could make a move where we possibly sell like Michael Thomas and Brandon Cooks to go get a running back upgrade, or sell Michael Thomas for like Jamal Williams at the beginning of the year. That way we can go ahead and that way we can hopefully cover some week 1 production, or sell Michael Thomas for Raheem Mostert, because we just need to get by at the running back at the beginning of the season, right? And then we have the upside for the long term. Okay, so Darnell Mooney, Samaje Perine, both off the board. I mean, if we're looking at what we could potentially do here, we don't have a potential Jared Goff stack at the moment. So we will go ahead and we will just take Jameson Williams. Just take swings on wide receivers that may have access to high spike weeks in weeks 15, 16, 17. Because that's when the most of the money is, right? We need to be prioritizing the fantasy football playoff tournament here. Carlito says, how bad truly is the Cup injury? Snagged him in the 3rd round today. Love the 3rd round price tag. How I am treating Cooper Kupp is my thought process is This is someone that most likely misses the first few weeks, but when he does come back, he will have an elite level ceiling. So if you get that player round 3, I like it. Jordan says, Miles Sanders, Najee, Dobbins, Amari. We need a running back and a flex. I think we go Dobbins week 1 because he's going up against Houston Texans. Full BBR, we go Amari Cooper in the flex. Dobbins, great spot. I mean, right now, the Baltimore Ravens are favored by 10 points against the Houston Texans this week. Ivan says, who are your top 3 favorite sleepers / rookies you've drafted this year? Mine are Zay, Sky Moore, and Antonio Gibson. Sky Moore looks like he has some great reports coming out of KC. Say Elijah Mitchell is a running back that I really like in that he's going to have a role on a week-to-week basis and upside for more. If you were to see a Christian McCaffrey injury, I'm never looking at wide receiver. In particular, Michael Pittman, wide receiver 40, I think is a much more reasonable price tag than we've seen in years past. And then also if we're trying to find like maybe a deep tight ends, I like Tyler Higbee. I mean, more and more now that you have the Cooper Kupp injury where it looks like they just may have no other option, but having to go through and having to give Higbee a considerable amount of volume at the beginning of the season. Okay. Keaton says, 10-team BBR, we have Lamar, Bijan, Barkley, Walker, Olave, Christian Watson, and Njoku, Lockett, Pittman, JT. Any advice? No, beautiful team. Beautiful team. Once we get JT back and we have the depth to upgrade tight end, let's upgrade tight end. But no, I mean, we're going to be waiting for JT to come back. We have Bijan and Barkley. It's like the perfect spot to have Jonathan Taylor, right? Just as a pure upside play if he does come back. And if not, who the hell cares? It's not going to fundamentally hurt our team at the end of the day. Now, Jason coming out says 12-team BBR with 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, and a flex. 4th pick. If I take Tyreek round 1, should I really be aiming to snatch another tier 1 or 2 wide receiver in the 2nd round? And then top quarterback, should I take a running back like Derrick Henry in round 2? Because it's a full BBR format where you can start up to 4 wide receivers. I mean, you have a lot of flexibility in what you want to be doing at that point. So if you really wanted to go ahead and take another wide receiver, you can. I definitely do want to be getting an elite level quarterback there in round 3. But if Derrick Henry makes it back to you in round 2, like late round 2, then hell yeah, pull the trigger on Derrick Henry. Especially if we started off Tyreek Hill. Now, Jared Goff goes 148. It would have been beautiful to have Goff on the way back round 153 to pair with Jameson Williams. Just unlikely that that's ever going to happen, right? Quarterback stacks are looking extremely limited for us, ladies and gentlemen. Extremely limited. Russell Wilson goes 149. Like I said, we cannot take running backs. Tajay Spears is the only running back available, so this is why we took running backs earlier in the draft. Jordan Love goes 150. Love would have been a potential stack for us. With Romeo Doubs, the team had Christian Watson. Never going to blame them for taking Jordan Love there. Derek Carr goes 151. Team has Olave. Can never blame them for taking Derek Carr at that pick. We're going to go ahead. We're going to take Mingo. Reason being is, like I said, we still need some quarterback stacks. And if we go Jonathan Mingo here, we can't be looking at Bryce Young later on. Everett goes 154. Now, Trey coming out says, 12-team league. We have Lamar, Garrett Wilson, Deontay, Breece Hall, Dalvin Cook, Travis Kelce. Hell yeah, we got Lamar and Kelce. Jay Williams, I'm assuming this is Javonte. Evans, Brian Robinson, Tank Dell. Cut Tank Dell. Doesn't have the upside to make a true difference. Go pick up a running back instead. Bigsby, Quentin Johnson. Didn't like the Deontay pick, but needed a wide receiver. What are your thoughts? I think it's a great team. I mean, primarily if we're going to be rostering players with upside down there on the bench, right? I mean, that's the kind of the advantage that we get by taking Travis Kelce and Lamar. We may struggle at the beginning of the season, but if we can hit on a couple key running backs off the waiver wire and having Lamar Jackson, Travis Kelce, then our league mates can't compete with us. That's the advantage. I want to make sure everybody's on the same page here. Because I know we keep on talking about getting an elite level quarterback, getting an elite level tight end going into the season. It can't stop there. How these guys give you the advantage is they give you the flexibility to take massive swings for upside options off the waiver wire. You're going to have extra roster spots to play around with, and that is where the true value lies. So if you have an elite quarterback, if you have an elite tight end, your running back and wide receiver room may be weak going into the season. But if we can outplay our league mates on the waiver wire, then we can turn it around. And by the time we get to the end of the year, we can have a better team than any of them, regardless of position. Now we're going to go ahead. We will take Ferguson here, 160. We've already made a bet on this Dallas Cowboys offense with Pollard. Let's just go ahead and double down. May take 4 quarterbacks in this league, to be honest. We may do it. Okay. So your fave Gramps Gamer coming out says 10-team PBR. We have Hurts, Pierce, Madison, Tyreek, Monroe St. Brown, Frymuth, Hopkins. And then on the bench, we have Zeke, James Conner, Jamal, Michael Thomas, Mike Williams. Love the videos. Thank you so much, my man. Love the team. I mean, great squad, top to bottom. I think if we could go through and sell Jamal in like a package with Frymuth and get an elite level tight end in return, makes a lot of sense because we don't need Jamal Williams at the beginning of the season. And I mean, he has a lot of value just based off what we have with his overall workload and opportunity in New Orleans. So if we can extract that value by trading him to a team that actually needs his production, I think that could make a lot of sense. Okay. So moving over. And ladies and gentlemen, we're about to hop into another draft after this one. So of course, if you want to get in our next draft, whether that's tonight, tomorrow, the next night, now's the best time to do so. Underdog just dropped the $5 puppy. And of course, these are best ball drafts, no time commitment at all during the year. It's how I drafted 700 teams, $150,000 last year. And now is also the best time to get on Underdog because they have a site-wide Patrick Mahomes special, more than less than half a passing yard, week 1 against the Detroit Lions. There's an exclusive flock special for people who use promo code FLOCK. Josh Allen, more than less than half a passing yard against the New York Jets. And if you are new to Underdog, there's also an additional new customer offer. We get another mystery special pick'em. I've never seen 2 special pick'ems the same week, let alone 3. Make sure you're taking advantage of that when you use promo code FLOCK. Not only get all 3 of those, we also get a 100% deposit match up to $200. Our 2023 fantasy football rankings, a free trial to flockfantasy.com as well, where you can find all our premium content. Now, Carter says, rate the team. It's a 12-team PPR 1 flex where we have Lamar, Lamb, Godwin, Kirk, Bijan, Gibbs, Goddard. And then on the bench, we have Dotson, JSN, Brian Robinson, Warren, Quentin Johnson, and Tank. Tank Dell, cut him. Tank Bigsby, love to have him. Great spot to be in. If we could trade Dotson and Goddard to go get Andrews stacked with Lamar, I think it would be even better. Okay. Jensen says, y'all gave me a D grade. We have Lawrence, Jefferson, Higgins, Etienne, Gibbs, Ingram, Dotson, Watson, White, and Brian Robinson. We have a lot of running back overall upside. We have Lawrence double stacked with Etienne as well as Evan Ingram. I think it's a great team with an overall construction that I like. Maybe it's going to struggle at the beginning of the year, but once we have some of those running backs breaking out, I think it'll be great. Brady says, do you really think Bijan will be good? What's your reasoning? Well, he was the best running back in college football. He has the size to be a 3-down workhorse at the NFL level. Not to mention that this is a running back that goes top 10 in the NFL draft when no teams in the NFL value running back anymore. He's a phenomenal receiving down back. And the man averaged like 13 yards per reception. This final season at Texas, or 18 yards per reception. Yeah, so I think Bijan's going to be phenomenal. And this is a team that wants to run the ball over and over and over again. Now, Rondale Moore off the board at 174. Curtis Samuel goes 175. We're going to go ahead. We will take Sam Howell. We don't have a Washington Commander for a stack, but at the end of the day, with Sam Howell, it's a quarterback that does have some rushing upside. So let's go ahead. Let's pull the trigger. We just need quarterback points here. Now, your boy Mal coming out says 10-team full BBR. We have Lamar, Barkley, White, Allen, A.J. Brown, Higgins, Hawkinson, Lockett, Brandon Cooks, Monster on the bench with Warren, Nico Collins, Zay Jones, and Rondale Moore. Overall, I'm fine if we want to roster these depth wide receivers, considering the fact that this is a league with multiple flex spots. We have the elite level quarterback as well. I think you're in a very good position. I don't think there are too many moves to be making. It really just does come down to, can we get one of those breakouts with either Rashad White or maybe a Brandon Cooks bounce back. Okay, so Bryce Young goes 182. Bryce Young was definitely someone that we were going to be looking at. So now at this point, ladies and gentlemen, we may be going ahead and taking Kyler Murray and sending up a prayer that he actually plays this season. Not looking good, not looking likely, but we may have to do it. He does have an elite level ceiling weeks 15, 16, 17. So we'll just take a swing. And we are going to go ahead. We are going to hop into another Underdog draft, ladies and gentlemen. Like we said, we're going to be getting in a puppy draft. It's going to be the tournament I would recommend for anybody that's new to Underdog Fantasy. It's a $5 buy-in, $250,000 prize pool. We actually had a member of the flock win a puppy tournament last year on Underdog, which is awesome. But you better believe your boy is the one winning the puppy tournament this year, right? So let's go ahead and let's get into this draft, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. So where are they putting us? Okay, 105, nice. Okay, different spot than we've been in the last two drafts. Just slowly but surely working our way up this draft board. Now, our next question coming out from, I believe, Zach. Thank you, my friend. And I believe we just lost the question, did we? Or can we still find it? Please have it. No, we are going to have to pull this up on these separate screens. So I apologize for that, my friend. Not going to miss any questions here, but some of these are not going to be shown on the actual screen, which I apologize for. So please just listen to hear your question. Okay. Pick 5 will be a nice spot because, I mean, there is a tier of 5 guys at this. Actually, tier of 4 guys, let's say. I mean, we can go ahead and we can reach on our guy at 5, but was better before the cup injury. I'll say that. Still pick I like, but was better before the cup injury. Okay. Zach says a 14-team league where we have the 12th pick, 2 wide receivers and a flex. We have Burrow, Chubb, Akers, A.J. Brown, Moore, year 2 tight end Tennessee, London. And then on the bench, we have Addison, Gabe Davis, Greg Dulcich, like having 2 tight ends. Elijah Moore, Damian Harris, Jonathan Mingo taking Bigsby. Thoughts on who to trade for a tight end or an RB2? Honestly, I think you're actually in a fine spot. On the bench, you don't have a lot of depth here. So whenever you hear me saying, okay, let's trade these 2 guys, let's go get an upgrade at tight end. Or let's trade these 2 guys, let's go get an upgrade at RB2. Generally, that's a style of a trade. That's a move that we're looking to make as many times as we can. Whenever it's a league where it's like a 10-team format with 1 flex spot. There we are highly incentivized to go ahead and see if we can get the elite level tight end, see if we can sell some of our depth. We don't have a lot of depth to sell on this team. I mean, our best options on the bench are Gabe Davis and Elijah Moore, right? So we're not looking to make a 2-for-1 deal to get that upgrade at tight end. I think in a 14-team format, you're actually completely fine to punt tight end, my friend. Now, our next question coming up from Elite Henry says, hey Mason, 12-team happy BR where we have Watson, Kupp, Higgins, Williams, and the running backs are Barkley, Gibbs. Tight end, we have Waller. And the flex is Mike Evans. Beautiful team. The only thing I'd say is if we could sell Darren Waller and in return get back like TJ Hawkinson, I'm all about it, right? I would definitely go ahead and look to do that if we can, my friend. Okay. But now our next question coming out from Packer fans says traded London Brian Robinson for Mike Williams and Jonathan Taylor. I'd rather have London, Mike Williams are in the same tier for us. I'd way rather have JT over Brian Robinson. Great deal. And Joey says, hey Mason, throw me some advice in a 10-team league with 1 flex. We have Lawrence, Dalvin, Samaje, Diggs, AJ, Andrews, Ridley, then Brees, JT, Swift, JSN, and Boyd on the bench. My man, going to be tough at running back early on. I actually would start Brees over Samaje Perine though. But yeah, I think the advice is do anything you can, be scrappy. Let's try to steal a couple games out the gate. I mean, if we can find ourselves in a position where we're going through and we're starting off 2-2 through the first month of the season, and then we get back, say, Jonathan Taylor and we have Brees Hall breaking out, then I think we will be in a very comfortable position. Okay. So Kupp goes pick 11 in this draft, which is interesting to see, ladies and gentlemen. Now, John coming out says, Flock, love the content. Thank you, my friend. Need your help on the flex. Would you start Hollywood, Hall, Dion, or Antonio Gibson? Not a good spot to be in. I mean, Hollywood will be in the worst offense in the NFL this next season, especially week 1 against the Commanders. But he is the only guy with the guaranteed volume there. So if it's a full PPR format, I probably would start Hollywood for some cheap receptions. But T. Bigham's coming out, says 14-team PPR league where we have Hurts, Bijan, Dobbins, Ridley, Ayuk, Pittman, Kincaid. And then on the bench, we have Hall, Johnson, Bigsby, Devon, A-Chain, and Marvin Mims. The issue is when we have like the bottom 4 of our bench spots just being these rookies, we're never going to be able to go through, cut them at the beginning of the season because, hell, we didn't give them a quote-unquote fair chance. So you're putting yourself in such a difficult position overall where I think would be much better off if we were to go ahead and maybe drop like Marvin Mims now, have that roster spot open, go be taking shots on high upside running backs off the waiver wire if we can, so we're not just completely locked out and making moves on the bench. I mean, Kincaid's someone I like the long-term upside of. The overall issue that I have with this team, I think it's a team that's set up for a lot of upside in the long term, which I like, but we just have no production in the short term. Or very little, because we have 5 rookies on the squad, right? We have 5 rookies and a running back coming off torn ACL. Now, Adams goes 18. I would have loved to have Devontae Adams make it back around to us at 20. Aaron says, hey, Mason, what are we thinking for the starting lineup? It's a 10-team full PPR, 6-point per passing touchdown. In the middle of drafting, we have 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 2 flex. We have Mahomes, Waddle, Watson, Ramondre, Brees Hall, if we have Kelsey and Mahomes, my man, we're in a great spot, especially 10-team league, 6-point per passing touchdown. Pittman, Godwin, what do you think? Love the team. I mean, it's running back, wide receiver depth is going to be a little bit harder to come by in a league with 2 flex spots compared to 1, but still only a 10-team format. Getting Mahomes and Kelsey stacked up. Don't take a backup quarterback. Don't take a backup tight end. Take as many shots high upside wide receivers and running backs we can get. Now we go Jalen Waddle here at pick 20 to essentially lock ourselves in at least a wide receiver. And deep ends coming out, it says 12-team PPR, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and 2 flex. We have Herbert at quarterback. Running back, we have Pollard, Javonte, Gibson, Warren, Jeff Wilson. Wide receiver, we have Tyreek, Devonta Smith, Deebo Samuel, Jordan Addison, Quentin Johnson, Elijah Moore. Tight end, we have Greg Dulcich and Gerald Everett. Scared for tight end. You should be scared for tight end, but at least we're rostering 2 of these guys. We have some upside here. We can be churning the bottom end of this as well. The only note that I'd say with this team is if Jeff Wilson Jr. is not on our IR, instead we're rostering him on the bench spot, go ahead, cut Jeff Wilson Jr., find another running back we can churn the bottom end of the roster with today. Yeah, but if Jeff Wilson Jr. is on your IR, then hell, great team. I don't think we change anything. But Jacobs goes 25, Darren Waller. Jalen Hurts off the board 27. A little painful to see Jalen Hurts go. Y'all know Hurts is my guy. I try to get Jalen Hurts as many leagues as I possibly can. Deebo goes, so we're going to go ahead. We will get Josh Allen. I mean, in general, I just love having an elite level quarterback here. I'd say the same thing for pretty much everybody watching this. If you can get Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, or Josh Allen at the 2-3 turn, at this point, I think you have to. T. Waller says, saw your video today and didn't see Cam Akers on it. Yeah, so with Cam Akers, issue is if you have no Cooper Kupp week 1, and this is going to be a horrendous, and I repeat, a horrendous overall team with what you have with the Los Angeles Rams, with no Cooper Kupp and a very bad offense. I don't know if we want to start Akers until we actually see the production. If he goes out there, crushes week 1, I'd be happy to start him week 2. Rick C coming out says, a first draft, any advice helps. 12-team, full BBR, where we only have 1 flex. We have Lamar, Pierce, Akers, Waddle, Lockett, Kelsey. First draft, 1 flex league. We were smart enough to get Lamar and Kelsey. Michael Thomas in the flex spot. Can't rely on Thomas. Definitely go through and put Miles Sanders in the flex over Michael Thomas. The bench, we have Zeke, Miles Sanders, Addison, Bateman, JSN, and Greg Dulcich. Drop Greg Dulcich. You don't need a backup tight end whenever we have Travis Kelsey. Go pick up another running back or wide receiver that you like off the waiver wire. But yeah, perfect spot. I think you just go swap Michael Thomas and Miles Sanders, make that small move at the bottom of the bench. And yeah, I mean, having Lamar and Kelsey in a 1 flex league in particular is a cheat code. Owned by CIA coming out to say Mason, 10-team BBR pick 9. We have Fields, Bijan, Barkley, Ridley, Watson, Pitts, Gibbs, and then on the bench, we have Dobbins, JSN, Addison, Charbonnet, Elijah Moore, Dalton Kincaid, Rashad Penny. I'm actually fine to have a Kincaid here. I'm way more willing to have Kincaid as like a tight end too that we don't have to rely on at the beginning of the season. We have upside later on with JSN, Addison, Charbonnet. We have the production in the short term with Bijan Robinson, Saquon Barkley. Wide receivers with upside. Beautiful team. Love the team, my man. Feudalist says, I forgot to mention IB. Okay, well, Bijan Robinson makes the team a hell of a lot better, my man. It's a pretty big guy to go through and forget to mention. But Bubba coming out says 10-team, happy BR, 1 flex. We have Watson at quarterback. Running back, we have Bijan Akers. Wide receiver, we have Wilson, Amari, DK. Tight end, we have Hawkinson. And then on the bench, we have Kamara, Montgomery, Swift, Michael Thomas, Elijah Moore, Bigsby. Are we looking to make any moves? Not in the short term because we'd have to wait until Alvin Kamara comes back. But if Alvin Kamara comes back, and then at that point we can take, say, someone like David Montgomery and go through and package him with like Amari Cooper and get it, or say Cam Akers and get an elite level running back in return, like make a 2-for-1 deal and upgrade at RB. I think that makes a lot of sense. But we do want to hold on to the depth until we at least have Alvin Kamara back in the lineup. But Brian coming out says 12-team PBR. We have Lawrence, Jacobs, Etienne, Kupp, McLaurin, Hawkinson in the flex. We have Tyler Lockett. What are your thoughts? I think it's a team that's going to struggle at the beginning of the season. I really don't like having Kupp and McLaurin paired together just because, I mean, both these guys kind of have the same timeline when it comes to their overall production. And I will say, with that being said, I mean, it's a team that has a lot of upside once you have those wide receivers back. But it's just a tough spot to like draft Kupp and McLaurin, right? I feel like you can take a shot on one of those guys that has the long-term upside dealing with an injury, but to like stack your roster with a bunch of those players is going to make your life very hard early on. What do you do in bid? Coming out says 12-team PPR, where we have Allen at quarterback. Running back, we have Etienne, Dobbins. Wide receiver, we have Jefferson, Keenan. Frymuth at tight end. Flex, Javonte. Rate the squad. Love the team, my friend. I mean, really the only thing that I'd look to change is if we could maybe, if we have another really solid like bench option, right, where we maybe have like, say, I don't know, Alexander Madison down there on the bench. We can pack together like Alexander Madison and Keenan Allen or like another running back of that ilk and go get like Stephon Diggs to stack it with Josh Allen. I really like that, but it's a great team. I mean, I just love teams that have an elite quarterback. Now, Vector coming out and says, thoughts on the roster, 10-team league where we have Lamar, Chubb, Pierce, Chase, Metcalf, Ingram, DJ Moore, and then on the bench we have Mike Williams, Pacheco, Sky Moore, Jacoby Myers, P. Ryan, and Darnell Mooney. Rostering too many wide receivers with not enough upside down there on the bench. Guys like Jacoby Myers, Darnell Mooney. Maybe if you want to keep one of these, you can, but definitely drop the other one for a running back instead. I really like having Lamar here as well as the top end running back wide receiver combo with Chubb and Jamar Chase. I think it's a team with a lot of upside at the very top end. We have depth as well, where we could trade like, say, DK Metcalf, Evan Ingram, and go get Mark Andrews to tag with Lamar. That'd make a lot of sense because we can still then slide like Mike Williams or Pacheco into the flex spot. Hawkinson off the board, 48. Alonzo says, 10-team full BBR, 3 flex. We have Tua, Lawrence, Chubb, White, Etienne, Hill, Deontay, Ayuk, Tony, Pittman, Sky Moore, Thomas, Rondale, Van Jefferson, David Njoku. What are your thoughts? 3 flex league, I love it. It's a big difference between a 3 flex league and a 1 flex league. You see how this team goes through, and they are prioritizing wide receiver depth. You can do it in a league with 3 flex spots, ladies and gentlemen. My issue is when everybody's rostering these guys like Jacoby Myers, and Darnell Mooney at the very bottom of the bench, and they only have 1 flex spot. There, they just don't have the upside to actually make a difference in your starting lineup. But if you have 3, they do have the upside, and I like it. We're going to go ahead and we will take Aaron Jones here. So we're going to make the consolidated bet on this Green Bay Packers offense by having both Aaron Jones and Christian Watson, essentially saying that maybe Jordan Love is better than people expect, and maybe both these guys crush. But let's move this over. And ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be getting in another draft tonight on the live stream. So of course, if you want to get into our next draft, make sure you go sign up for Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code FLOCK. These are best bullet drafts and no time commitment at all during the year. It's how I drafted 700 teams, won $150,000 last season. And now is the best time to get on Underdog because they just dropped the $5 public tournament. So tournament that a member of the Flock won last year for $75,000. And on top of that, not only did they just drop the public tournament, but they have a site-wide special with Patrick Mahomes more than less than half a total yard against the Detroit Lions on Thursday night. There's a Flock exclusive special, Josh Allen more than less than half a passing yard against the Jets on Monday night. And you have an additional mystery special pick'em if you are new to Underdog Fantasy. I've never seen Underdog have 2 pick'ems the same week, let alone 3. So make sure y'all are taking advantage of that. Promo code FLOCK will also get you a 100% deposit match. All 3 of those. And our 2023 fantasy football rankings, a free trial to flockfantasy.com where you can find all our premium content. Josh says 12-team BBR where we have Mahomes, Chubb, Mixon, Metcalf, Ayuk, Waller, Dalvin, Pickens, Daniel Jones, P. Ryan, Elijah Mitchell, Gabe Davis, and Nico Collins. So having the elite level quarterback does give us the flexibility where we don't need to roster Daniel Jones if we don't want to. I would love to pack together like Daniel Jones, Darren Waller if we can to go get like Mark Andrews. Just open up a roster spot where I'd rather have another running back or a wide receiver down there on the bench. Outside of that, really like the running back production we have with Nick Chubb, Joe Mixon. We have some wide receivers with upside overall. I'll just say the main thing we're going to do is try to sell Daniel Jones at any kind of deal to open up another roster spot, pick up another running back or a wide receiver off the waiver wire. But a great team. Now, Pablo coming out and says, thanks for the content. 12-team half BBR league. Would love your thoughts. We have Hurts, CMC, Jacobs, Amari, Moore, Njoku, and then Ayuk. And then on the bench, we have Akers, Sutton, Juju, and Dalton Kincaid. I think Njoku, Kincaid, natural pairing at tight end. I mean, we have the elite level quarterback here. We have the elite level running back production. This is a perfect team. Roster construction, top to bottom, great team. I don't want to make any moves there. Nubs the Caterpie coming out and says, 12-team keeper league, PBR 1 flex. We have Bijan, Najee, Amari, Lockett, Hawkinson, Pittman. And then on the bench, we have Hall, Mostert, Richardson, Thielen, McKinnon, Lazard, and Jonathan Mingo. Any tips? 1 flex league, go ahead, drop someone like Adam Thielen, pick up another running back with upside. I'm fighting doing a roster, Watson and Richardson on the same roster. We do have the elite level tight end with Hawkinson we can start every single week. We have running backs with production as well. I like the overall team. The only thing I'd say is Adam Thielen, not going to make a difference. Drop him, see if we can get anybody else off the waiver wire. But yeah, great team overall. I think that the more that we look at these teams, like the more I begin to like them. I feel like a lot of the teams that we were sent, like, let's say last week, 2 weeks ago, they were kind of like, okay, this roster construction's all off. I feel like the construction with the teams as of late has looked a lot better than it used to. See what Henry decides to do here with this pick. They went Kelsey and Waller. They went with the bully tight end strategy. Evans goes. Evans was our guy. So we're going to go ahead. We will take James Cook to pair with Josh Allen. We want some correlation in this Buffalo Bills offense. Also, as we discussed previously, running back tiers are going to fall off a little bit quicker than what we have seen in the past, just based off the new landscape with all the injuries that we have. So yeah, let's go James Cook, 68. It would have been nice to get, I mean, I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it. Don't want to sit here and cry about it. Okay. Now, Ilias coming out says 10 PPR1 flex. We have Tua, Chase, Garrett Wilson, Bijan, Mixon, Kupp, Schultz. On the bench, we have Stevenson, Madison, London, Javonte, James Cook, John Dotson, Rashad White. Any trade ideas? We have so much depth, there's no reason not to have a great tight end. You have no excuse. We have Stevenson, Madison, London, Javonte, James Cook, Dotson, and White on the bench. We have 7 startable players on the bench. Go take one of these guys, my man. Go get an elite level tight end. What the hell are we doing here? I mean, great team in terms of the overall value. Just think that you clearly want to go ahead and get a better tight end. Now, Michael Pittman off the board, 73. We took Pittman, I believe, at 82 in the last draft. Kyle Pitts goes 74. Jordan Addison off the board as well. This is a team that took, I want to say, actually Cam Akers in the last round. No quarterback, no tight end yet. They go Khalil Herbert. We're going to go ahead. We will take the falling value in Jerry Jeudy. And real quick, ladies and gentlemen, I will be back in literally 30 seconds. You can set a timer, maybe even less than that. Okay, I'm sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. We are back here. And our next switch coming out from Eduardo says, thoughts on the 10-team league where we have Rodgers at quarterback, running back, we have Madison, James Cook. Thank God we have great wide receivers here, my man. We have Chase Wilson, wide receiver. We have Andrews at tight end. We have Lamb. I have no idea how you get Chase Wilson, Lamb, 3 borderline round 1 selections all on the same team. We have on the bench, Ridley, Odell, Sutton, JSN, Elijah Moore, Pacheco, Gainwell. Also got a trade offer to give Andrews and Odell for Dobbins and Goddard. Hell no, we're not doing that. Yeah, the thing is, my man, if you have Garrett Wilson, Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, Calvin Ridley, what are we doing rostering 3 more wide receivers? At that point, if we are so strong at wide receivers, it's a 10-team league with 1 flex. How does Elijah Moore ever get into our starting lineup? How does it ever happen? I would way rather roster another quarterback and play the matchups with Aaron Rodgers. I'd way rather roster another running back and then at that point be able to go ahead and actually have some upside and make a fundamental difference in our lineup. The thing is, if you have literally, I mean, Wilson, Lamb, Chase, Calvin Ridley, this is the best wide receiver room ever. Rostering 7 wide receivers. We should be rostering 4 tops, like maybe 5. Enoch coming out says, cheers, bro. Thank you for all the help this offseason. No, thank you so much for being a long-time member of the flock, my man. Super, super happy to have you. Yeah, thank you so much. And going back to Eduardo, I'm sorry if I'm sounding like a little bit of an ass here, my man. Love the team overall and has a lot of value. Just definitely, it's like the same story with every single one of these teams. And I'm sure everybody's tired of hearing me say it, right? Like, oh, drop Adam Thielen, drop Jalen Hyatt, go pick up a running back with upside, go get Tyler Algier. But it's just like trying to find someone at the bottom end of our roster that will actually make a difference if their situation changes, right? And those wide receivers, it's not happening, especially when you're elite there at the very top. Okay, now we have a bunch of running backs going off the board, which isn't great because, like we said, running backs are going to fall off quicker here than they used to. I guess we do have 3 running backs already with Bijan, Aaron Jones, and James Cook. Now, Eric says 10-team full BBR where we have Fields, Kelsey, Bijan, Akers, Javonte, Rashad White, Olave, Metcalf, DJ Moore, Judy, Bateman. What are your thoughts? Great team. We have an elite quarterback, an elite tight end. We're focusing on our running back, wide receiver upside down there on the bench. Love it top to bottom. Great squad. Like Bateman's someone that I think has upside, right? There's a world where Bateman makes the difference in your lineup. Okay. Sutton off the board at 89. The tough spot is if like Deshaun Watson falls. At that point, do we take Watson, the clear value, or still put ourselves in a position to instead prioritize Jordan Love for the double stack with the Packers later on? You know? Christian coming out says 12-team full BBR double flex. We have Hurts, Jefferson, Higgins, Walker, Pacheco, Higbee, Watson, Kirk. And then on the bench, we have Brian Robinson, Myers, Mostert, Elliott, Mooney, MVS. Any moves we should look to make? If we have Jefferson, Higgins at the very top end of this roster, we're like Watson and Kirk, I'm okay having a little more wide receiver depth here, but I mean, having both Mooney and MVS, I don't really know what these guys are doing for us. We have the elite level quarterback. Tight end, we have Higbee. I'd actually probably rather roster 2 tight ends. I would drop MVS, pick up another tight end. Because with Higbee, I mean, possibly turns into someone that we really like, but at the same time, I mean, there's an outside chance that he gives us nothing. So I would actually opt to roster 2 tight ends here. But great team at the very top end. Top end, I mean, having Jalen Hurts and Jefferson on the same team, it's going to be hard for me to not like that team. We're going to go ahead. We will take Deshaun Watson here at 92. Obviously, if I have Josh Allen in a regular fantasy football draft, I'm not taking 2 quarterbacks. But with this being best ball, going to be a little bit different, ladies and gentlemen. Going to be a lot different. I mean, here, if Watson goes out there and turns into like the quarterback 1, week 13, he automatically slides into our lineup. Now, CDJ coming out says, Mason, you're the man. I'm feeling good about the team, but can you tell me what I'm missing in a 12-team PBR format where we have Hurts, Etienne, Pierce, Swift, Mostert, Brian Robinson, Tyreek, Godwin, Pickens, Dotson, Boyd, and Mark Andrews? Running back at the top end is maybe a little bit lackluster, but we have the depth and the upside to make up for it. I don't think we're lacking anything here, my man. We have the elite quarterback. We have the elite tight end. We're focusing on running back, wide receiver, upside down there on the bench. We still have some great players at the very top end with like Tyreek Hill and Travis Etienne as well. I love the team. I don't think there are any trades to make either. Now, Gabe Davis, Jalen Warren, both off the board. We're going to get a gift, right, ladies and gentlemen? We're going to take a Deshaun Watson. The fundamental issue that we have is sometimes you're not going to be able to get a stacking option later on. But here, getting Elijah Moore, 10 picks past ADP. Super excited about this team. This is a nutso team, ladies and gentlemen. Quarterback, we have the locked and loaded elite level quarterback production every single week. We have Allen and Watson. Running back, we have Bijan, Aaron Jones, James Cook. Wide receiver, we have Waddle, Christian Watson, Jerry Jeudy, Elijah Moore. Make a big bet on the Bills offense with Josh Allen, James Cook. Bet on the Packers offense with Christian Watson, Aaron Jones. And a bet on the Browns offense with Watson and Elijah Moore. I love this team. Now, Paulie coming out says, 12-team PBR did some crazy draft day trades. We have Lamar, Bijan, Madison, Pacheco, Tyreek, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Garrett Wilson, Christian Watson, JSN Goddard. Oh, this is nuts. You look at the wide receiver room, I'd assume we have literally nothing at running back. We have Bijan Robinson. I have no idea what kind of trades your league mates were making. I don't know if they gave you their first, second, and third round picks, and you gave them back your 14th. Like, I don't know what the trade looked like there, my man. RC Davis says 10-team PBR where we have Fields, Tua, Tyreek, Higgins, Devonta Smith, Sutton, Burks, Gallup, Chubb, Sanders, Hall, Dobbins, Brian Robinson, Hawkinson. What are your thoughts? I don't love having 2 quarterbacks. I'm fine with it if these are the 2 guys. We have a lot of running back depth that I like. I think we could potentially at least explore the possibility of trading like Fields in a depth running back like Dobbins to get to the Allen, Mahomes, Hurts tier. I'm imagining they're going to say no, but it can't hurt. It's a great team. So really, that's like the only thing that I think we could try, right? Danny Smith says, I signed up for Underdog and used your promo code, but I'm not seeing the Allen pick'em. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, if you're looking at the pick'ems, if you sign up for Underdog right now, the Patrick Mahomes one is going to be available to you immediately because this is a site-wide special, so it's automatic. It's available for everybody on Underdog right now. But the Josh Allen special pick'em is only going to be for people who use promo code FLOCK. And for that reason, they're going to have to manually run it on Sunday morning. So you're not going to see it until September 10th at 11 a.m. Eastern. So Sunday morning kickoff, but it will be for the Monday night game. So you should have more than enough time to go through and take advantage of that, my friend. So make sure you get on now. That way, when they run it, you actually get it popping up then. And then I think you should get the mystery pick'em as well, like almost immediately. But let's move this over. Gino goes 113. Cousins goes 114. Thank God we want to see wide receivers off the board, right? I mean, we're a little bit light at wide receiver. We could go Kincaid to pair him up with Allen. I think the Kincaid hype's a little bit out of control, if I'm being honest with you. This team's definitely not going to take Kincaid. They already have Kelsey and Waller. They go Juju. We're going to go Odell. We'll mix in some Odell. We need more wide receiver production than tight end, I think. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to go get access to those special pick'em lines on Underdog, now is the time to do so. They have 3 special lines for new members of Underdog Fantasy. Literally never seen them even have 2 in the same week. You have the site-wide special with Mahomes, more than less than half a total yard against the Lions Thursday night. You have the Flock exclusive special with Allen, more than less than half a passing yard Monday night against the Jets. And if you're new on Underdog, you have a mystery pick'em special on top of that as well. Take advantage. Never seen anything like it. Promo code FLOCK, 100% deposit match, plus our 2023 fantasy football rankings. A free trial to flockfantasy.com where you can find all our 2023 fantasy football premium content. Eduardo coming out says, first ever draft, 10-team league, 1 flex. We have Hurts, Sanders, Dobbins, Jefferson, Kupp. Oh, okay, this is a great team. I mean, obviously we're taking a risk on Kupp, but we have a lot of upside with said risk. Allen, Pitts, and then on the bench we have Swift, Kirk, Addison, Herbert, Brian. This is a phenomenal team. I don't think you need to improve at running back in the short term. We have a lot of depth that may turn out to be someone that we like. And yeah, I mean, we're able to go through and start like Christian Kirk for Cooper Kupp. I think maybe early on we started a little slow with the Kupp injury. But once Kupp's coming back, you're going to be in a great spot. Ryan says, when will the Allen line actually show up? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's on the graphic here. Sign up by September 10th at 9 a.m. Eastern. Live on September 10th at 11 a.m. Eastern. It's right there, my friend. Allen Lazard, 124. And the Mahomes one will be live immediately. Let's move this back around. I think we actually go Tyler Boyd. Let's just lock in the wide receiver at a value that nobody else is going to get, right? And we are playing catch up here at receiver. And ladies and gentlemen, we are 1 like away from hitting 1,000 likes on this live stream. So if you want to be our 1,000th like of the stream, please go down there and hit that like button. Now let's move this down. Okay, I think we are going to have to read some of these questions from the other monitor where we're not going to be able to get them up on the screen. Yeah, big speed of on H-in going here immediately after 126, 127. Little bit scary where we know running backs are going to be a little harder to come by now. Okay, Samaje Perine goes 128. Myers goes, we want to see as many wide receivers off the board as possible at this point. Like that would be the dream. Just get these wide receivers off. So Brian coming out with our next question says, 12-team PPR, we have Lawrence, Jacobs, Etienne, Kupp, McLaurin, Hawkinson. The flex we have Lockett. What are your thoughts? Great team in the long term. The short-term question is, can we get by with Kupp and McLaurin? Generally, I'm scared about having both those guys on the same roster. Adrian says, rate the team, 12-team PPR. We have Lawrence, Bijan, Gibbs, Tyreek, Devonta Smith, Kyle Pitts, Godwin. And then on the bench, we have Akers, Deontay, JSN, Khalil Herbert, Jalen Warren. Really like the upside that we have down there on the bench. I mean, a well-balanced between running back, wide receiver. Great team overall. I don't even think there's anything we change with it. I mean, if we could trade Devonta Smith for Calvin Ridley to stack up with Trevor Lawrence, we do, but we don't have to. Now, Riley coming out with a massive dono. My man, thank you so much for being such a long-time member of the flock, saying, Mason, you are truly the best. Rate this 12-team full PPR team where we have Daniel Jones, Ramadre, Javonte, Adams, Higgins, Kupp, Kittle. The bench is scary. Terry, Charbonnet, Isaiah Pacheco, Swift, Quentin Johnston. Any big deals that we can look for? Okay, so as long as this is a team where we only have to start 2 wide receivers, 1 flex, I think we'll be fine. Because if we only start 2 wide receivers, 1 flex, then we'll be able to go through and get Isaiah Pacheco into that flex spot and replacing Cooper Kupp early on. But if we have to start 3 wide receivers, then at that point we have no wide receiver to start with Kupp here because Scary Terry is obviously going to be missing at the beginning of the year as well, or most likely. I think that there is no big deals that we can be looking for at this time. We're really just going to be trying to get by with Kupp, McLaurin not playing. And then if we eventually are in a spot where we can take a depth wide receiver and package with Daniel Jones to get a quarterback upgrade, that'd be great. It's just not something that we can do until we actually have those wide receivers back, right? We're really tied down whenever we're waiting for Cooper Kupp and McLaurin to return. But Austin coming out says 12-team PPR, 1 flex. We have Lawrence, Jacobs, Walker, Diggs, Amari, Andrews, Brandon Cooks, JT, Elijah Moore, Johnson, Charbonnet, Zeke, Richardson, Laporta. Any improvements? I mean, drop Laporta if we have Andrews. You don't need him here. I mean, I'm fine if you have Richardson with with Lawrence, because Richardson you could possibly sell high later on down the road. But if we have JT, we definitely need to be prioritizing running back depth. So there's no reason in having like Sam Laporta backing up Mark Andrews there, where we would rather focus in on trying to get another running back that we could potentially play at some point. Okay. Zeke goes 138. Ladies and gentlemen, running backs are drying up for us here. I mean, Jameson Williams looks like a great value for the overall tournament aspect of this, but at the same time, we can say, okay, well, do we really want another wide receiver at this point? Especially with Jerry Jeudy. I mean, Jerry Judy's not going to play at the beginning of the year. Okay. Jameson goes, thank God we're going to get Higbee. I mean, we're going to go Higbee regardless. I think it makes a lot of sense. Running back's kind of gross in this range. Just lock in a tight end. We already have Bijan, Aaron Jones, James Cook at the gate, right? So we don't really need RB here. Now, our next question coming out from Watson, who says, rate the team. We have Lamar, Bijan, Etienne, Lamb, Ayuk, tight end we have Waller, double flex, we have Williams, Javonte, and on the bench, we have Dak, Kamara, Elijah Moore, Flowers, and Kincaid. I don't love having 2 quarterbacks and 2 tight ends on a double flex league. I think it's going to cap us a little bit at wide receiver and running back. If we could trade, say, Dak and Javonte and go get a running back upgrade, and Kincaid and Mike Williams to get a wide receiver upgrade, then just roll with Lamar and Waller in for the beginning of the season, and then potentially at the same time look to trade Waller for Hawkinson. I mean, it's a team that has a lot of value, and I think that those like small moves could set us up where like it would be very hard for anybody to compete with us this year. But Schultz goes 143. Schultz is going to be the other guy that we are looking at here. So we cannot take a quarterback, ladies and gentlemen. We're just running back, wide receiver, tight end through the rest of this draft. Nicholas coming out says 10-team PBR. Thoughts on the squad? We have Allen, Bijan, Montgomery, Gibson, Amon-Ra, Sutton, Juju, Hawkinson, Kamara, JT Richardson, Dobbs, Bigsby, Joshua Kelly, Deion Jackson. I really like roster like guys like Joshua Kelly, Deion Jackson going into the season because we'll get clarity on their situations. And if the situations we don't like, then we can go ahead and cut them easily. No harm, no foul. We definitely want to be covering for someone like JT. I like the team as long as we understand the goal is Anthony Richardson is not going to be a long-term hold for us. If we're rostering Anthony Richardson here, it's for the goal that hopefully we can go ahead and look to sell him eventually. But I think we will take Rashee Rice. Now, Rashee Rice, not a great camp, not a great preseason. I mean, this is a wide receiver that's been plummeting down rankings, but at the end of the day, I mean, this is an open depth chart with the Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver room, where if something were to change and he were to go out there and he were to have a large role with Patrick Mahomes, I think he does have upside. Now, Matt coming out says, hey, Mason, 12-team league, pick 7, happy BR, 1 flex, 2 running back, 2 wide receiver. What should the strategy be if Kelsey's off the board? And who should we target in the second thing? You know, thank you, my man. I think pick 7, you're definitely going to be looking at an RB. If you can get one, I think you're going to be looking at someone like Bijan Robinson. If not, then maybe you could pivot to Tyreek Hill. Just generally, if it's going to be a happy BR format where we can only start up to 3 wide receivers at the very most, we're going to get great wide receiver values later on. So I'd even look to go with like another running back round 2 if we can, and an elite level quarterback round 3 if that's available. Jensen says, should I trade Mahomes, McLaurin for St. Brown and Lawrence? Hell yeah, do it. I'd rather have St. Brown over Mahomes, and I'd rather have Lawrence over McLaurin. I think it makes sense. Okay. Now, Magsy coming out says 12-team PBR 3 flex. Okay, we better have built around wide receiver in a 3 flex league. We have Lawrence, Pollard, Akers, A.J. Brown, Metcalf, Goddard, Keenan, Charbonnet, Johnston, Rice, Myers, Gainwell, Tank Dell, Kareem Hunt. What are your thoughts? Really like the team in here. This is where you can build around wide receiver on the bottom end, right? On your bench, in a league where we can start up to 5 wide receivers on a week-to-week basis, this is where you can roster guys like Rashee Rice, Jacoby Myers. Like, Myers can make a difference in your league for you if he turns out to be like a top 30 wide receiver. So, yeah, I think we're optimized for the format that we were playing in. If this was a league where you only had 1 flex, then definitely I'd say we're rostering too many bench wide receivers. But no, I like it. Now, Big Vert coming out says, rate the team, 10 PPR. Who should we start? 1 flex. Quarterback, we have Hurts. Beautiful. Wide receiver, we have Watson, Deontay, Ayuk, Dotson, and Brandon Cooks. Juju Smith-Schuster as well. We're going to start Christian Watson and Jahan Dotson. Should be a tough matchup with Pittsburgh playing the 49ers with those other guys. Running back, we have Pollard, Barkley, Stevenson, Rashad White, Gibson. We're going to be starting Pollard, Barkley at running back. We're going to go Stevenson at the flex. Tight end, we have Darren Waller. Great team. Love the team, my man. Love the team. Darren says, thoughts on the 12-team PBR from pick 9. We have Lamar, Barkley, Sanders, St. Brown, Ridley, Godwin, and Njoku. And then on the bench, we have Swift, Tony, Burks, Mostert, Elijah Mitchell, Sam Laporta. Fine rostering Sam Laporta if our first tight end is David Njoku. Love having the elite level quarterback here with Lamar. If we could potentially use the Mostert short-term value and package him together with another one of these options like Treylon Burks and get a wide receiver that we're possibly a little bit more excited about for potential future flex play, I think that makes sense just because, I mean, we don't need the running back production, right? And there's possibly someone in our league that drafted JT or drafted Alvin Kamara that could need it. Okay. Now, Michael coming out says, McLaurin, Dotson, Deontay, Godwin, and Lockett. Or Lockett, I apologize. I think we have to go ahead and take Lockett. I mean, even if JSN does play, I mean, Lockett is going to be a wide receiver that sees a pretty good spot against the Rams week 1. I mean, this is not the old Rams defense, right? This is a Rams defense that you don't have to be worried about. I think Underdog has the pick 'em for Lockett this week at like 59.5 yards. Definitely higher than those other guys. Okay. Singletary off the board, 161. This is what we were talking about. This is what we were trying to avoid in the earlier drafts in the live stream today. This just nasty running back teardrop. We're running back so much grosser now than it used to be. Quarterback not viable when we have Allen and Watson. We're looking at running back, wide receiver, and tight end. Preferably not even wide receiver. Preferably just running back and tight end here. Teams after us only have 0 and 1 tight end. So I think we're definitely going to want to go ahead and take a tight end here if we can. We'll go ahead and we'll take Gerald Everett. I mean, I'm not a big Everett guy. I think that you're going to have a way more target competition, but we need a tight end. He's in a good offense. He falls further than anybody else according to ADP. Now, we have a name I can't pronounce, and I apologize for that. Coming out says 12-team map PBR 11th pick. We have Lamar, Bijan, Madison, Devonta Smith, Garrett Wilson, Schultz, Hopkins. And then on the bench, we have Pickett, Gibson, Spears, Addison, Lockett, and Johnson. I really like the team overall. I will say when we have the elite level quarterback with Lamar, we don't need to be rostering a backup quarterback. Completely fine rostering like Juwan Johnson as a backup tight end when we have Dalton Schultz. But yeah, the backup quarterback's just unnecessary here with Lamar Jackson. I would drop Kenny Pickett, see if we can pick up another wide receiver or running back off the bench. Off the waiver wire with upside. But yeah, great team at the very top. But like Bijan, Garrett Wilson, and Devonta Smith, and Lamar Jackson. Of course, and Lamar Jackson. Oh, let's smooth this over. DJ Chark goes 167. And Not Lucid coming out says 12-team PBR double flex. We have Tua, Stevenson, Hall, Tyreek, Olave, Hopkins, Dobbins, Kincaid. And then on the bench, we have Kirk, Dillon, Gabe Davis, Nico Collins, Tyler Boyd, Tank Bigsby, and Joshua Kelly. Double flex 12-team league, going to be a little bit more lenient in terms of rostering bench wide receivers like Nico Collins and Tyler Boyd. Kincaid's not someone I'm super pumped about having in the short term. I would definitely look to go ahead and pick up another tight end if we can, whether or not we're dropping Joshua Kelly or Nico Collins. The thing is with Kincaid, I know we've talked about this a lot, and I know people are probably tired of hearing it. I like the long-term upside. The fundamental issue is you don't necessarily know if this is someone we can actually start at the beginning of the season, right? We know typically rookie tight ends don't produce year one at all, but especially, I don't want to start them until we at least see the production. I'm fine rostering him because how good the situation is for the long-term upside, but do we want to be starting this guy? Probably not. Okay, yeah, running backs are just not even, there's no running back in the stratosphere that we would look to touch. So we'll just go similar situation to Gerald Everett. Gross tight ends. You don't know what the role is going to be. It's probably not great. He's been falling down draft boards a lot. But at the end of the day, he is in a very good offense. So we will go ahead and we'll pull the trigger on Irv Smith Jr. here at 173. Let's do it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm moving this over. And Nick coming out says 10-team PPR, 2 quarterback, 2 running back, 2 flex. We have Pickett, Russ, CMC, Dalvin, Diggs, Waddle, Devonta Smith, Keenan Allen, Pitts. And then on the bench, we have Jimmy. Oh, my man. Actually, 2 quarterback, never mind. I was thrown off a little bit seeing Jimmy Garoppolo. Obviously, we're fine. JT here, hopefully we can put him on the IR. We have Jameson, Deontay, AJ Dillon, Jamal Williams, Deion Jackson, and Desmond Ridder. The issue is if we're going to go through a roster of 4 quarterbacks and then have JT as well, we're not going to get until week 5 at the earliest. There's no way in hell we can afford to roster Jameson Williams if we can't put him on our IR, because think about the waiver wire moves that we could potentially make at the beginning of the season. We're going to be severely handicapped. So I'd go through, I'd look to cut Jameson Williams. And if we could make some 2-for-1 deals where we could trade like Deontay Johnson and Kenny Pickett to go get a quarterback upgrade, or Deontay Johnson and Russell Wilson to go get a quarterback upgrade, I think that would be advantageous because obviously we're elite at running back and wide receiver at the top end. We just need some better quarterbacks in a super flex league. David says, hey Mason, 10-team full BBR double flex. We have Burrow, Henry, Walker, Higgins, Ridley, Kelsey, Juju, and Ayuk. What are we thinking here? Great team. We have Burrow stacked with Higgins. We have another eye upside wide receiver. We have great running backs. We have an elite tight end with Kelsey. I love it. Just to make sure we're not relying on Juju. Hopefully we have another option for the flex over Juju. Sean says, hey Mason, do you like the idea of starting Higbee week 1 if Kupp doesn't play over Goddard? Quarterback is Hurts. So I don't know if that helps the decision. So honestly, I don't really care too much about having Jalen Hurts on if we're going to make the decision to go Dallas Goedert or Tyler Higbee. Dallas Goedert's a much better option than Tyler Higbee, even with an injured Cooper Kupp. So we will go Goddard. Greenman says, 10-team full BBR league. We have 1 flex. We have Goff, Richardson, Connor, Stevenson, St. Brown, Lamb, Ridley, Waller. And then on the bench, we have Sanders, JT, Pittman. Any moves / thoughts? Goff, Richardson's a nice combo to have at quarterback. We have the long-term upside with Richardson, the short-term production with Goff. We have it stacked up with St. Brown. If we could sell Waller for Hawkinson, I'd do it, but it's not something we have to do. We have depth down there to cover the JT. Great team. Great team top to bottom. Okay. Let's move this over. Bryce Young goes 183. Good for us to see the quarterbacks off, right? This point, I actually think we may end up going 3 RBs. Depends on the wide receiver versus running back value that we get in the coming rounds. We're not going to be looking at quarterback or tight end. We're going to make our next pick, and we're going to go ahead and bounce into our next draft, ladies and gentlemen. Taysom goes, good for us. Slayton off the board as well. I'm just there, says Anthony Richardson and Fields in Superflex. Should we add Purdy? If he's off the waiver wire, hell yeah. I don't want to trade one of those quarterbacks for him. Julius says 12-team PPR format, 2W2F. Don't know what that means. 2 wide receivers, 2 flex. Sorry. If you have Tyreek at 3, would you take Waddle? Hell yeah. I would be completely fine making that consolidated bet on that offense. I don't want to talk about it. We'll take Deuce Vaughn. And we're going to be hopping into another Puppy 4 draft, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be getting these going pretty much. We're be getting a ton of these going. So, of course, let's get this up. $5 buy-in, $250,000 prize pool. This is the tournament I would recommend for anybody that's new to Underdog Fantasy. We had a member of the flock actually win a puppy tournament last year for $75,000. So let's go ahead and let's get in this bad boy. We're going to be in here at pick 2. literally, y'all saw us from the beginning of the stream now to the end, just slowly but surely move up this draft board. We are going to be able to lock in Jamar Chase. Hell yes. But of course, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to get in our next draft with us, whether that's tonight, tomorrow, the next night, you can find a link to Underdog Fantasy in the live chat, in the description, in the comment section. Now is by far and away the best time to get on Underdog if you're new, because they have the Puppy 4 tournament live, plus they have a site-wide special, Patrick Mahomes, more than less than half a total yard against the Detroit Lions. You have an exclusive Flock special only for people who use promo code Flock. Josh Allen, more than less than half a passing yard Monday night against the New York Jets. And if you are new to Underdog Fantasy, you're also going to get an additional mystery pick'em special. I've never seen Underdog do 2 specials the same week, let alone 3. So please make sure you're taking advantage of that. Find the link in the live chat, description section, comment section, promo code Flock, 100% deposit match. All 3 of those pick'ems, plus our 2023 fantasy football rankings, a free trial to flockfantasy.com, where you can find our 2023 fantasy football draft guide. But our next question coming out from Alejandro says 12-team, 1 flex league. We have Allen at quarterback. Running back, we have Dobbins, Madison, Javonte Taylor. Wide receiver, we have Chase, Waddle, Hollywood, Pittman, Mims, Rosberg. Drop the 2 wide receivers at the very bottom of the bench, especially if we have Jonathan Taylor at running back. Go pick up running backs instead. I'm fine rostering 2 tight ends with Everett and Laporta because these guys aren't locked in. But yeah, let's go ahead and let's look at a drop the bottom 2 wide receivers, pick up some running backs with upside to cover for Taylor. Now, Billy Welch coming out says 12-team PPR pick 9. We have Lamar, Barkley, Sanders, Montgomery, Devon Achane out running back. Wide receiver, we have Lamb, Olave, Higgins, Addison, Flowers, Elijah Moore. Tight end, we have Higbee. I'm fine if we wanted to roster 2 tight ends in this league. Not something we have to do, especially with the Cup injury, possibly boosting up the target share of what you have with Tyler Higbee. Love the elite level quarterback. We have running backs at the very top. Great team. Great team. Now, Rycheck coming out says, great stream. Thank you, my friend. 10-team BBR. We have 1 flex. Hurts, CMC, Sanders, Ridley, Amari, Andrews, Dotson in the flex. The bench is James Cook, DeAndre Swift, Burks, Charbonnet, Elijah Mitchell, Jamison Williams, and Jonathan Taylor. What are your thoughts? 10-team league. I mean, it's going to be very difficult to go through and roster both Jamison Williams and Jonathan Taylor, handicapping us for making any waiver wire moves at the beginning of the season. Because, I mean, who are we supposed to drop if we like an option off the waiver wire week 1? Are you going to drop Burks? Are you going to drop Elijah Mitchell? I don't want to. I'd way rather not do that. I mean, I think we could go ahead and we can just let go of Jamison Williams right now. That way we have the flexibility with the roster down there at the bottom end of the bench for the waiver wire through the course of the season. But yeah, love having Hurts, love having Andrews with this team. We have, I mean, CMC as well. Beautiful roster. Now, Tan Fom coming out says 12-team full BBR format where we have Hurts, Chase, Lamb, DJ Moore, Kenneth Walker, Dylan, Laporta. And then on the bench, we have Kamara, Pittman, Javonte, Elijah Moore, Tank Bigsby, Deuce Vaughn. What are your overall thoughts? Love the elite level quarterback. I will say tight end. I don't want to start Sam Laporta right away. So I would way rather go through and drop Deuce Vaughn, pick up another tight end off the waiver wire. That way we can go through and possibly have a different option than Sam Laporta. And generally, I'm not going to start a rookie tight end unless we actually see them break out year 1. I really like the other running backs we have with upside down there on the bench, guys like Kamara and Javonte. Yeah, just drop Deuce Vaughn, pick up another tight end that we could potentially play instead of Laporta early on. Brandon says 12-team PBR. We have Lawrence, CMC, Connor, Olave, Ridley, Scary Terry, Freiermuth, Pittman, Montgomery, Dobbs, Jameson, Lazard, Rondell, Dulcich. What are your thoughts? Similar to what we were talking about previously, cut Jameson unless you can put him on the IR. Cut Rondell Moore. It has no upside in this horrendous offense. Love the Lawrence and Ridley stack. Love the running back at the very top with CMC. But I would honestly go through and just prioritize that running back depth. I'm completely fine rostering 2 tight ends, though, if we have Pat Freiermuth and Greg Dulcich. Okay. Ridley goes 22. Let's swing this back around. So if you look at the fact that we are guaranteed to get an elite level quarterback on the way back around, I think we're in a comfortable spot to take Devonta Smith. I mean, we will get Jalen Hurts to stack with Smith potentially at 26. If that doesn't happen, we'll go ahead and we will get Josh Allen as our elite level QB. Or maybe we can even mix in Josh Jacobs, considering the fact that this is a spot where it's a little bit harder to find running backs later on now. I actually probably should have gone Josh Jacobs and an elite level quarterback. But we'll go ahead and we'll get Jalen Hurts now stacked up with Devonta Smith. So yeah, definitely not going to complain about having our favorite player in fantasy and Jalen Hurts paired up with a wide receiver here, right? And Devonta Smith actually won us a tournament last year on Underdog for $100,000. And he won us another tournament for $20,000. He helped us out a big time. Jay Funk says, Montana, Rice, Barry Sanders, Sharp, Bo Jackson, Brown, Flex, Lawrence Taylor. What are your thoughts? My man, I think we're probably rostering too many wide receivers down there on the bench. I think we probably want to cut a wide receiver and pick up a running. I'm joking. My man, okay team. Not as good as, the team I'm about to draft here, but it's all right. Vaughn says, 12-team PBR double flex. We have Dak, Bijan, Stevenson, Lamb, Deontay, Andrews, Godwin, Sutton. And then on the bench, we have Javonte, DJ Moore, Mitchell, Mingo, Hodgins, Deion Jackson. Let's cut Isaiah Hodgins. Two double flex league. I understand maybe you're a little bit more inclined to go for him, but still, no. Cut Isaiah Hodgins. You find someone with more upside down there on the waiver wire. DJ Moore is an interesting play. I actually probably play DJ Moore over Cortland Sutton, even with the Jerry Jeudy injury in the short term. Love the Dak, Andrews pairing quarterback and tight end. Love the Dak and Lamb stack at wide receiver. Yeah, strong team. I like it. Now, Tyler coming out says 12-team, 1 flex. We have Herbert, Chubb, Sanders, Kupp, Higgins, Andrews, Pittman, Dobbins, Quentin Johnson, and Juju on the bench. I don't know how to feel about it. It's going to be tough at the beginning of the year with Cooper Kupp missing time, of course. But, if we're going to be backfilling Cooper Kupp, say with Michael Pittman and then sliding J.K. Dobbins into the flex, as long as Kupp only misses a week or two, you'll be great. Especially, playing Dobbins in the flex spot this week against Houston Texans in a phenomenal matchup. So it really just comes down to how long Cooper Kupp's going to miss. Because obviously, if he comes back, he's a player with a wild, wild ceiling. Najee goes 39. Okay, let me make sure, just look at my other page to make sure I'm not missing any questions. No, Rick says, what's good, Mason? We have Hurts, Walker, Sanders, Jefferson, St. Brown, Hawkinson, Lockett at the flex with Montgomery and Dobbins on the bench. Who are starts and who are we going to bench? I actually would really like to start J.K. Dobbins if we can here, my friend. Just considering the fact that, he has such a good matchup against the Texans. I'd probably start J.K. Dobbins over Miles Sanders, but keep the rest of the roster as is. Okay, now Henry coming out says, how'd the draft tonight? Hell yes, my man. We had Herbert at quarterback. Running back, we had Ramondre Bijan Robinson. Wide receiver, Diggs, Garrett Wilson. Tight end, Njoku. We had Montgomery, Sutton, Addison, McKinnon, Tyler Algier. Any moves? Double flex format. I don't see anything, my man. If Sutton starts off hot, we can trade him in a small piece for Mike Williams to stack with Herbert. We definitely look to do it. But having Diggs, Garrett Wilson, Bijan Robinson is just literally, I just don't understand how it's possible. That's such a good team. I think the only move we can make is possibly try to trade for a stack if we have one of those depth wide receivers popping off. But we'll go ahead. We will take London here. 47, hopefully for a little bit more of a unique build. Now, Kirk says, pick 5 of a 12-team league. We have Lawrence, Tyreek, Ridley, Mixon, Pierce, Laporta on the Watson. And on the bench, we have Everett, Pacheco, Davis, P. Ryan, Cousins, Myers. Can't be rostering 3. Actually, no, never mind. I'm fine rostering both tight ends in Laporta. Everett, probably play Everett at the beginning of the year. I guess it's such a good matchup for Laporta. It should be a super high-scoring game. We're going to try to mix it up. We're going to go ahead and we're going to... You would never do this in a regular fantasy football league. This is just because it's a best ball tournament. I still don't even think it's good in a best ball tournament, but I think it's unique, and we kind of want to go ahead and make some weird picks every once in a while. Trying to come up with anything to do with this team, my man. I think you're in a great spot. I really hope that we have one of those tight ends hitting, though. Cheeky Opson says, flock meetup this year, and yes, you have to find a venue. We may have to this year, my man. We may not be able to run it back at Zilker, but you'll be the first person I'll let know if we have that flock meetup. And yeah, well, most likely, yeah. Why am I saying if? Of course, we're going to have a flock meetup, and it will be in Texas, and I will be looking forward to seeing you, my man. Now, Griffin coming out says, just drafted a 10-team half PPR. Fields, Cup, T, Bijan, Rashad White, George Kittle, Amari, Jamal Williams, James Cook, Jordan Addison, Sky, Devon Achane, and Tua. What are we thinking? Fine rostering Tua and Fields if you really want to. I mean, we really need to find a short-term fill-in for Cup. We have Jamal, actually. This is a great spot. We have the long-term upside with someone like James Cook as well. Beautiful team. I don't know if we changed anything there. Love the team. Now, Renee coming out says, huge fan. Keep it up. Thank you, my friend. 12-team map PBR, 1 flex. We have Allen, Chubb, Sanders, Lamb, Olave, Pitts, James Cook. And then on the bench, we have Addison, Cooks, Pirine, Bigsby, and Sky Moore. I'd love to see if we could get to Diggs. Like, if we go Chris Olave and, like, Brandon Cooks and go trade for Stephon Diggs, I'd love it. I'm assuming we can't, right? Great team. The only thing I'd say is if we have a reasonable trade for Stephon Diggs, I'd trade CeeDee Lamb for Stephon Diggs just to get the Josh Allen Diggs stack. I don't think there's anything else we'd look to do, though. What are you doing? Big Cuts coming out says, rate the trade. Keenan Allen, Jamal Williams for CeeDee Lamb. A 10 out of 10. Love it. Austin says, 12-team league at pick 6. Happy BR. We have Fields, Eckler, Stevenson, James Cook, Amon-Ra, Olave, Deontay Waller. And then on the bench, we have Charbonnet, Devon Achane, Cole Kmet, Hunt, Myers, Nico Collins, and Flowers. Amon-Ra, Olave, Deontay, Myers, Nico Collins, Flowers, Eckler, Stevenson, James Cook, Charbonnet, Devon Achane. Okay, Kareem Hunt. So we're fine there. Really like the team. I like the construction down there at the bottom of the bench as well. The only thing is I'd say is if we're going to be looking at a potential trade, I would like to sell Darren Waller for TJ Hawkinson if possible. You can do it in some leagues. You can't do it in the others. But I mean, now, if we can somehow figure it out, we will go ahead and we will take Akers. Obviously, at this point, we are needing running back help, ladies and gentlemen. Gabe Davis goes 72. Montgomery goes, we will take Javonte Williams to pair up with Cam Akers. Super weird team. Like I said, we're only doing this because it's a best ball tournament. You would never do this in your regular fantasy football draft. And I don't even know if you'd want to do it in a best ball tournament. It's still kind of gross. Delicious Dan coming out says 12-team PBR 1 flex. We have Lawrence, Eckler, Barkley, Devonta Smith, Amari, year 2 tight end Tennessee, Ayuk, and then on the bench we have Dotson, Charbonnet, Elijah Moore, Kincaid, like that natural pairing at tight end. Algier Bateman, do I trade for an elite level tight end? Question is, can we afford an elite level tight end, right? I mean, I guess you possibly can if you get a breakout from someone like Rashad Bateman, but as of now, I mean, Jahan Dotson's like the only guy you can confidently start that's not in your starting lineup. So we don't have a ton of depth. If we get a breakout from like either Elijah Moore or Rashad Bateman, then at that point, I think we could package together Dotson in the starting tight end to go get a better one. But we just need to make sure that we have the overall depth, right? Nick coming out says 10-team Superflex. What are your thoughts? Russ, Pickett, CMC, Dalvin, Diggs, Waddle, Devonta, Keenan, Pitts. On the bench, we have JT, Deontay. I think we already answered this, my man. Yeah, the main thing that we're going to look to do is we're going to look to see if we can package together guys like Jamal Williams and then those quarterbacks to get just quarterback upgrades. I mean, going through and like doing something similar by packaging like Deontay Johnson and Kenny Pickett to go get a better quarterback in a Superflex league. That is going to be something I'm looking to do, my man. Chisel says 10-team BBR Superflex. We have Herbert, Danny Dimes, CMC, Walker, Diggs, Olave, Hopkins, Kittle, London, Javonte, Sutton, Johnson, Mostert, and JSN on the bench. The elite level running backs, the elite level wide receivers. I mean, hell, we even have Justin Herbert in the Superflex League. We have a nice allocation of upside versus guaranteed options down there on the bench. Love the freaking team. Great team. If we could trade like, say, Mostert and London to go get an upgrade in the flex, I think that'd be interesting. If there's like a team that we can find that actually needs Mostert, because here he's just a non-factor with us, and maybe a situation does end up getting worse. We don't really know. Great spot to be in. We can afford to make a move like that. But ladies and gentlemen, at this rate, it looks like we are going to be going for another fantasy football draft tonight, even if we are pushing hour 7 at this point of live streaming. So, of course, if you want to get in our next draft, whether that's tonight, tomorrow, the next night, you can find a link to Underdog Fantasy in the live chat in the description in the comment section. Now is the best time to get on Underdog. Promo code FLOCK, you'll get a 100% deposit match up to $100. You'll get our 2023 fantasy football rankings. Get a free trial to flockfantasy.com where you can find all of our premium content. And now is the best time to get on Underdog because you have the puppy tournament launching, $5 buy-in, $125,000 prize pool, $250,000 prize pool, whatever the hell it is. Remember the Flock won it last year for $75K. And they have an exclusive Patrick Mahomes site-wide special pick'em. More than less than half a total yard. You have the Josh Allen exclusive Flock Pick'em special. More than less than half a passing yard against the Jets on Monday night. And if you are new to Underdog, you get an additional mystery special pick'em. I've never seen Underdog have 2 special pick'ems the same week, let alone 3. So please make sure you are taking advantage of that, ladies and gentlemen. If y'all want to support the live stream and your boy live streaming for 7 hours straight, that's going to be the number one way to do it. Okay. Let's move this over and let's try to breathe a little bit because I'm about to pass out. All right. Now, Nick coming out says, start who? 10-team league. Mahomes, CMC, Dobbins, Lamb, Waddle, Hawkinson, Hopkins, Mike Williams, Dalvin, Addison, Higbee, Dobbs. What do you think for the team? Thanks for the input. No, thank you so much for the support, my friend. I think if we're starting the lineup, we're going to be going Lamb, Waddle, wide receiver. What do we want to do at running back? CMC, Dobbins at running back. The flex, I'm actually going to go Mike Williams. If you look at that game, it's supposed to be the second highest scoring game of the week, only behind the Lions and Chiefs. So yeah, let's go Mike Williams in the flex spot. And overall, great team because we still have plenty of depth through the rest of this lineup that I kind of want to get in the starting lineup. RJ says, hey, Mason, 8-team full BBR, 7th pick, 4-point passing touchdown. We have Allen, Eckler, Pollard, Ridley, DK, Andrews, Keenan. And then on the bench, we have James Cook, Dobbins, Zay Flowers, Montgomery, Judy, Alvin Kamara. Think we're looking stacked. I'll agree. I think we are looking great, my man, but I will be fair. Every team in an 8-team league is going to look stacked, okay? Just give you a little bit of a hard time. But, I mean, yeah, we have the elite level quarterback. We have the elite level tight end. That's what we want to do in an 8-team format. We still have Eckler. We still have Pollard. We have great wide receivers as well. Great team top to bottom, my man. If we could somehow afford Stephon Diggs by packaging together like one of those bench options or 2 of those bench options and Calvin Ridley to go get Diggs to pair up with Allen, I think that would be even better. Okay. But Tony goes, oh, dear God. We're going to panic pick a running back here. I would not do this in Underdog drafts a month ago, but in Underdog drafts today, these running backs are going to go, and we're going to be left with nothing in the last few rounds. And I'd rather be taking wide receivers in the last few rounds. Now, Sun AAA coming out says, trade deal giving Higgins, Kamara, Cook, getting Andrews, Sanders, Mike Williams. What do you think? My wide receivers are now Jefferson, Smith. My running backs are Connor and Stevenson. Cook to Sanders, upgrade. Kamara to Mike Williams, lateral move. Higgins to Andrews. Depends on your roster. If we have Jefferson and Devonta Smith, I think we're fine with it. If we have like Lamar, I love it. Jacob says, 10-team PPR, we have Burrow, Madison, Pirine, Chase, Amon-Ra, Irv Smith Jr., Devonta Smith, Amari. And then on the bench, we have Kirk, London, Lockett, Addison, Frymuth, Bigsby. Definitely play Frymuth over Irv Smith Jr. Please do that, my friend. Yeah, put Pat Frymuth in the starting lineup, even in a tough matchup against the 49ers. I love having the Burrow Chase stack. Pirine running back 2 is kind of gross. I'd love to see if we could trade like London and Pirine to get a better running back, or Lockett and Pirine to get a better running back. I think that's going to be the main thing. The digital print house coming out says 14-team PBR league with 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, 2 flexes. We have at quarterback Lawrence. Running back, we have CMC, Pollard, Kamara, Tank, Roshan. Wide receiver, we have St. Brown, Ayuk, Dotson, Burks, Elijah Moore. Tight end, we have Laporta and Jake Ferguson. Okay. This is a league where depth matters so freaking much. This is a league where we can feel free to go through and roster a bunch of wide receivers. It, on the surface to a lot of people, is not going to look too special. But if it is a 14-team format, I have no idea how the hell we got CMC, Pollard, and Amon-Ra St. Brown all in the same roster, while not really sacrificing quarterback production. That is a great team. There's nothing I can say to change that team. I mean, I don't know if I've ever been in a 14-team league where I've had a team that good. Pierce Lee World coming out says 12-team BBR. We have Fields, Cup, Higgins, Bijan, Stevenson, Frymuth, Lockett. And then on the bench, we have Sanders, Deontay, Devon Achane, Bigsby, Zay, and Jamison on the IR. Completely fine keeping Jamison on the IR. Going to be a little tough at the beginning with Cup obviously injured, but we can go through and we can move Lockett in the starting lineup, Sanders into the flex, still bench Deontay against the 49ers week 1. I'm fine having someone like Zay Jones in the short term, right? Just in case we need that wide receiver depth. But in the long term, hopefully we're going to be able to find a running back, especially when we get Jamison and Cup back in. Okay. But Colton says, should I trade Cup for Amon-Ra St. Brown? My other wide receivers are Hopkins, Amari, Boyd. 14-team format, yes. 14-team format, the floor is going to matter a little bit more than the ceiling. Gino goes 115. Thank God we see some of these quarterbacks going, right? Let's move this back around. Quarterback not play for us. We're running back, wide receiver, tight end. We'll go ahead and take Dobbs if he's fallen this far. Dobbs is our wide receiver 4 here. Couple running backs going. Then I think we'll take Juju. This is why we reach on the running backs early, right? Just because here you get to this point, it's just so damn gross at RB and underdog drafts now, where it used to not be. Unless I'm losing my mind. There is a very real chance, ladies and gentlemen, that I'm just slowly but surely realizing I'm horrible at drafting fantasy football teams. That is a very real possibility. And it's also a very real possibility that we are 1 like away from hitting 1,200 likes on this live stream. So if you have not done so already, please go down there. Drop a like on this stream. Be our 1,200 like at the stream. And we've been live for 2.5 hours, so we're going on like 7.5 hours at this point. Do I turn the chat on to member only? I'm not. It's Labor Day. I streamed for 24 hours last year today, so I can power through. We can go for another hour or so. We can do it. Okay, Kurt coming out says 12-team app PBR pick 5, 1 flex. We have Dak, Adams, Amari, Eckler, James Conner, Goddard, Debo. On the bench, we have Pacheco, Sutton, Goff, Mostert. Backup tight end, Alec Pierce. Thoughts on the possible moves? If this is a league with only 1 flex spot, obviously we're incentivized to get a great tight end. I think Goddard is that. I'd love to have Dak stacked up with Lamb. If we could trade Devontae Adams for CeeDee Lamb, I think that'd make a lot of sense. Well-balanced roster when it comes down to the bench. We are rostering a couple of running backs that have the fundamental upside to change our roster. So I like the team. Really, the only thing I'd say is if we trade Adams for Lamb, let's do it. Jaden says, 12-team underdog settings. We have Jalen Hurts, Kenneth Walker, J.K. Dobbins, Justin Jefferson, Olave, Mike Williams, Higbee, Montgomery, Addison, Gabe Davis, Mostert on the bench. What are your thoughts? I'm assuming it's not best ball. I'm assuming you just mean half PPR, 3 wide receivers, 1 flex. I love in that format having the elite level wide receivers with Jefferson and Olave. We still have a lot of running back upside as well. Beautiful team. Beautiful team. Padilla says, watch every video of yours last year and ended up winning my league thanks to you. Also just started Jefferson, Cup, Henry in the puppy four. Well, unbelievable start in the puppy four, my man. Congrats on winning the 25K. And yeah, congrats on winning last year as well. Easy Eddie says, hey, drop anyone to roster Marvin Mims. Generally, I'd say no. Mims is going to be a tough guy to roster just because, I mean, what's the real upside? I mean, in this offense, I'd rather have the running backs down there with like Spears, Roschon. Because what happens week 1, Derrick Henry goes down. Spears is a must-start guy. What has to happen week 1 for Marvin Mims to turn into a must-start player? I'd probably keep him on the waiver wire. I mean, he's definitely a player you really like in best ball. He's definitely a player that you really like in Dynasty. It's just the issue in like your shallow redraft format. It's like a sneaky guy that he's like, tricks you into just rostering him forever. Okay, Zeke goes 139. Jacob says 10-team PBR. We have Burrow, Madison, Chase, P. Ryan, Amon-Ra, Irv Smith Jr., Devonta Smith, Amari, and then on the bench, Kirk, London, Lockett, Addison, Freiermuth, Biggs. I think we already answered this. I think the move that you need to be making is you need to trade P. Ryan with one of the bench options, get a running back upgrade, and then also start Freiermuth over Ersma Jr. Juwan Johnson goes 140. What is this team doing here? This team only has, I don't want to say much. Jacob says 12-team PBR, where we have 3 wide receivers, 1 flex, 1 super flex, 6 point per passing touchdown. Mahomes, Fields, beautiful. I will say 6 point passing touchdown format. I may try to sell Fields for Burrow if we can. Geno, Brees, Dobbins, Charbonnet, P. Ryan, Warren, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Olave, London, Addison, Bateman, Pitts. In a league where we start 3 wide receivers, perfect spot. I think we're okay to go a little bit weaker at running back here. The only thing I'd say is in that format where it's a 6 point passing touchdown league, I think you're a little more inclined to go with the quarterback that could have the passing volume instead of the rushing production. So I would look to go like Burrow instead of Justin Fields in a 6 point passing touchdown league. 4 point, yeah, I'm fine going with the rushing upside. But Mr. Rodman says, 1 final draft tomorrow, 12-team at PBR. If I get a top 2 pick, where do I look to get a running back? Do I reach on a running back in a 2-3 turn or wait later for the 4-5 turn? If it's going to be a half PBR format, it's going to depend on how many flex spots we have. If we only have 1 flex spot, you kind of have to take a running back. I'll definitely say we're still going to be looking to grab our elite level quarterback at the 2-3 turn, though. Okay. Michael says, 10-team full PBR 1 flex. We have Allen, Pollard, Ramondre, Hill, Amari, Ingram, Watson. And then on the bench, we have Kamara, Godwin, Addison, Gibson, Quentin Johnston, Warren, and Dalton Kincaid. Completely fine having Evan Ingram and Dalton Kincaid together. We have the long-term upside with Kamara at running back. Really like the team overall. If you could take like Amari and Godwin and go get Diggs, let's do it. Like, I don't think we have to do anything. Christian says 10-team 1 flex. Start Dobbins or Jamal week 1. Really appreciate you, my friend. And I mean, I think Dobbins going to be a higher scoring offense. They're favored by 10 points in that game. I probably go ahead and I probably go J.K. Dobbins. Jamal's obviously in a very good spot as well, though. Now, Ryan says 12-team double flex PPR format where we have Lamar, Andrews, Diggs, Lamb, James Conner, J.T. Dalvin, Khalil Herbert, Gibson, Gabe Davis, Addison, Bateman, Thielen, Devon Achane, Kenneth Gainwell. Rate the squad. Love the Lamar Andrews stack. Love the elite level wide receivers in a full PPR double flex league. We still have some running backs down here that can get us by until Jonathan Taylor comes back. I love the team. I love what we're doing down there on the bench. It really ultimately comes down to what do we get with Jonathan Taylor, right? If Taylor can go out there and actually be a difference-making player for us, week 5, week 6, week 7, we're going to be in a very good situation. If not, it may be a little bit tough, but we'll see. Okay, so let's move this down. We have Ferguson going 154. Next few questions we may not be able to bring up on the live stream, ladies and gentlemen. I may just have to read them out loud, so I apologize for that. Let me see if I can text my girlfriend to get me some water too. Was not expecting to be live this long tonight. Okay. So our next question coming out from Dev says, 10-team PPR double flex. We have Herbert, Barkley, Gibbs, Adams, Watson, Andrews, Ayuk, Williams. And then on the bench, we have Gibson, Herbert, Charbonnet, Warren, Addison, Burks, and Bateman. The elite level tight end, a quarterback we're really excited about. If we could trade Christian Watson for Keenan Allen, I would love that. Get the double stack with Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, Justin Herbert. Bench, we're prioritizing running back upside. Great spot. Big Bird coming out says, rate the team, 12-team PPR, and who should we start? 1 flex. Should we make any moves? Quarterback, we have Lawrence. Wide receivers, we have St. Brown, Kupp, Watson, Godwin, Dotson. We're going to be starting St. Brown and then Chris Godwin as our 2 wide receivers. Running backs, we have Bijan, Stevenson, Gibbs, Hall, P. Ryan, Charbonnet. We're going to be starting Bijan and Ramondre Stevenson. And then the flex spot, we're going to be going Jahmyr Gibbs in a full PPR format in the shootout against Detroit. But since he's playing on Thursday night, don't put him in your flex. Put him at running back 2 in case anything happens. Tight end, we have Schultz. Love the team. I think this is a team where we can afford to roster 2 tight ends if we really want. But, I mean, it's too hard to go through and drop any of those wide receivers. So, if we could take like JSN and package him with Dalton Schultz, get a tight end upgrade, I think we can afford it in that league. I mean, we're really strong there. Okay, Miller and Hunt both off the board. So, we're going to go ahead. We will take a tight end, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to take 3 tight ends in this format. Now, Jacob coming out says, 10-team PPR double flex. Hurts, Brees, Madison, Walker, Swift, Pirine, Charbonnet, JT. Deion Jackson, Jefferson, Waddle, Devonta Smith, McLaurin, Addison, Andrews. Hurts, Andrews stacked up. We focused in on running back, wide receiver upside down there on the bench. We have more running backs than wide receivers, especially with JT not being there at the beginning of the season. Perfect spot, top to bottom. We even have Devonta Smith stacked up with Jalen Hurts. Phenomenal team, my friend. Phenomenal team. Okay. Let's move this over. Now, Miguel coming out with our next question says, 12-team PPR double flex. We have Daniel Jones, Kirk, Richardson. We don't want to have 3 quarterbacks here if it's a 1 QB league, my friend. Etienne, Eckler, Dobbins, Devon Achane. A quarterback, wide receiver, we have Lamb, Waddle. Tight end, we have Everett, Laporta. We also have Ayuk, Deontay. What can we improve? You have to go through. You have to drop one of these quarterbacks. You have to pick up another running back off the waiver wire. I think we're going to be, maybe we can trade. Maybe we can go through and try to package together like Daniel Jones, Devon Achane to get a running back that we're a little more excited about overall. It's just the thing is, especially in a league where you have 2 flex spots, there's no way in hell you can get away with rostering 3 quarterbacks. Now, Scar Shiesty says, Mason, you the man. 12-team standard scoring non-PPR. Lawrence, Bijan, Gibbs. Gibbs is going to be a running back that I actually look to sell in a non-PPR format. I think you have Montgomery possibly vulturing rushing touchdowns. Gibbs with the receiving down role, which is very valuable in a PPR, non-PPR a little bit different. Lamb, DJ Moore, Mike Williams. And then on the bench, we have Brees, Gibson, Charbonnet, Devon Achane, Jarrett McKinnon. Love that we're rostering the majority of running backs down there on the bench. With this being a non-PPR format, we have a great quarterback that we can rely on a week-to-week basis. Great team overall. I think that just the overall thing is we potentially look to sell Gibbs for another running back in that same range. Like sell Gibbs for like ETN, specifically because it's a non-PPR league. But ladies and gentlemen, we're going to make our next 2 picks and then hop into another draft here. So of course, if you want to get into our next draft with us, you can find the link to Underdog Fantasy in the live chat in the description in the comment section. If you sign up to Underdog with promo code FLOCK, they're going to match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. Plus, you'll get our 2023 fantasy football rankings, a free trial to flockfantasy.com where you can check out all our premium content. And on top of that, now is the best time to get on Underdog because they just dropped the $5 Puppy 4 tournament. Plus, Thursday night, they have a site-wide special, Patrick Mahomes, more than less than half a passing yard against the Kansas City Chiefs. On top of that, Monday night, there's a Flock exclusive special, more than less than half a passing yard for Josh Allen against the New York Jets. And if you are new to Underdog Fantasy, there's also an additional mystery special pick'em on top of that. I've never seen Underdog have 2 special pick'ems the same week, let alone 3. So please make sure you're taking advantage of it while you still can. But Christian says, should I trade Jamal for Dotson if I'm already starting CMC, Jacobs, Dobbins at the flex? One flex league where we have Amari Smith. No, the move you want to make is you want to trade Jamal and another one of these wide receivers like Drake London or Terry McLaurin to go get someone to tier up. John Dotson's not really going to make a difference in a 10-team league with only 1 flex spot. You'd rather make a 2-for-1 deal where we're hopefully getting some more upside elsewhere. Edwards off the board. Real scandalous on the clock. Goes Ty Chandler. Just gives us a big FU. We're going to go ahead. We will take Jerome Ford. Much more reasonable price point than he was earlier this offseason. And we still need another tight end as well. Kind of forgot about that. We'll probably go 1 more tight end, 1 more wide receiver here. We'll go ahead and we'll take Hayden Hurst as our 3rd tight ends. And somehow managed to get 3 tight ends all with the week 7 bye. And yeah, let's go ahead and let's hop into another draft here, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be another Puppy 4 draft. This tournament's filling up quick. They opened this I want to say 2 to 3 hours ago, and there are already 8,500 entrants. So yeah, make sure you get in here ASAP before this fills. Let's get in this bad boy. And hopefully we're at pick 1. The way this is trending, we only are increasing our picks. We're back at 9, sending us back to the back end. But Professor X coming out says 10-team PPR, 1 flex. We have Lawrence, Barkley, Javonte, Diggs, Olave, Ridley, Hawkinson. And then on the bench, we have Rodgers. I'm okay if you want to have Rodgers as quarterback too. Robinson, Dillon, Evans, Flowers, MVS, thoughts and changes. Love the team top to bottom. The only thing I'd say is cut MVS. We have so much production. I mean, MVS is never going to be someone that actually makes a difference for us. So pick up a running back that's a handcuff that maybe is a starter if someone were to go down. A great team. And Eminem's coming out, says 12-team double flex league. We have Allen, Tyreek, Metcalf, Devonta Smith, Deontay Johnson, Quentin Johnson, Hyatt, cut Hyatt. We can find someone better. Jacobs, Walker, Hall, Kamara, Kenneth Gainwell, Schultz, and Jawan Johnson. Fine rostering 2 tight ends here. Cut Hyatt. You're not going to get anything at the beginning of the year. It's just going to be clogging a spot on your roster. You're not going to be able to make waiver wire moves. Love the elite level quarterback. Great running back production. Solid top to bottom. Okay. Zach says 12-team PBR, 2 flex spots. We have Mahomes, Bijan, Ramondre Stevenson, AJ, Mike Williams, TJ Hockenson, Ayuk, Brandon Cooks. What you think? And what do you think will happen with Leonard Fournette? I mean, I thought Fournette was for sure going to sign. He tweeted out like the story's not over, but I mean, at this point, it looks like, it's hard to imagine something happening. I mean, having Mahomes, Hockenson, Bijan, AJ Brown, super solid squad. I'll say if it's going to be a 4-point passing touchdown format, I would like to trade Mahomes to go get Jalen Hurts to get the stack with AJ Brown, but 6-point passing touchdown format, keep Mahomes. Deshaun says, what's up, Mason? 12-team PBR league where we have Allen, Jefferson, Amari, Etienne, Dobbins, Ingram, and Hollywood. Thoughts? And we also have Sky Moore on the bench. I really like having Sky Moore on the bench. We're going to get to see his role on Thursday. Great team. If we could trade Amari and a depth piece like Hollywood and go get Diggs somehow, some way, that would be nice. But in reality, it's probably not happening. Okay, Diggs off the board at 8. We're going to go ahead. We will take AJ Brown here, ladies and gentlemen. Jam says 12-team PBR, 1 flex. We have Allen, Walker, Montgomery, Chase, Kupp, Hockenson, Kirk. And then on the bench, we have Brian Robinson, Gabe Davis, Zach Charbonnet, Tank Bigsby, Jonathan Mingo, and Jay Williams. If it's Jameson, cut Jameson, go pick up a running back off the waiver wire. If it's Jamal, I think you're going to be in a very good spot to play him early on in the season. I mean, we're going to need a little more depth because we have no Cooper Kupp. I mean, we can go through and play Gabe Davis here in replacement of Kupp. But I mean, if Kupp comes back and we have Chase, Kupp, Josh Allen, I don't know who beats us. Okay. Now, Garrett Wilson, Cooper Kupp off the board at 12. Interesting to see Kupp go higher in these puppy drafts than Best Ball Mania. Like, Kupp should be going way higher in Best Ball Mania. Similar like Jonathan Taylor, right? Take Taylor in Best Ball Mania. Pass on him in the puppy drafts. This team took Nick Chubb out the gate. Where are they going? They go Lamb. I'd love Lamb. I mean, generally, I used to take Devontae Adams over Tony Pollard, but it's harder to find late-round running back values now on Underdog. Jacob says, last one, wanted to come support the live stream. No, thank you so much, my man. 10-team PPR, 1.5 tight end premium, 6 point per passing touchdown. We only have to start 3 running backs, but we get 3 flexes. Sorry, we only have to start 1 running back, but we get 3 flexes. We have Lawrence, CMC, Etienne, Brees, Gibson, Charbonnet, Elijah Mitchell. Wide receiver, we have St. Brown, McLaurin, Kirk, Pittman, Addison, and Andrew. Oh, we have Andrews, CMC, Etienne, St. Brown in a tight end premium format. You'll love to see it, my man. 6 point passing touchdown format. You give a bump up to Lawrence as well with the passing volume in comparison to, like, in a 4 point passing touchdown league, you'd prefer Fields based off the rushing upside. Okay. Now, Dane coming out says 12-team auction draft where we have Hurts, Bijan, Walker, Chase. Okay, beautiful. This is why we go studs and duds. Should we trade Smith, Kenneth Walker, Darren Waller for Hopkins, Gibbs, Kittle? So Kittle, Waller, same tier, call it a wash. Walker to Gibbs, slight upgrade. Smith to Hopkins, pretty big downgrade. I would say no specifically because we have Jalen Hurts. If we could instead trade like Jackson Smith and Jigba, I would love it. But I don't want to be trading away Devonta Smith on a Jalen Hurts team. Jason coming out says, out pick 4 in a 12-team league, 3 wide receivers, 1 flex. Is going Kelsey Mahomes round 1 and 2 a good move. Was thinking more so Tyreek Hill round 1. Full BBR format where you have to start 3 wide receivers. I do think you probably opt to go with like Tyreek Hill rather than Travis Kelce. Now, Louis coming out says, 10-team full BBR, no defense, no kicker. We start 2 flexes. We have Mahomes, Andrews, Bijan, Walker, Lamb, Moore, Williams, Pacheco. And then on the bench, Judy, Sky Moore, Charbonnet, Penny. Literally the perfect team. Literally the perfect team. Elite quarterback, elite tight end. We even have Bijan Robinson. We have CeeDee Lamb. And we are only rostering high upside running backs and wide receivers down there on the bench. Love that squad top to bottom, my friend. Love it. Now, Eric says, should I start Dak or Geno? Going to go Dak against the Giants. Christian Watson or DeAndre Swift. Going to go Christian Watson. I don't really want to start any of the Philadelphia Eagles running backs until we actually see the role. I mean, really hard to imagine. I mean, really hard to know exactly what's going to happen. Okay. Now, in the sit coming out says 10-team at PBR double flex. We have Hurts, Bijan, Gibson, A.J. Brown, Watson, Pitts, Mixon, JSN, Khalil Herbert, Zach Charbonnet, Bateman, Tony, Jordan Addison, Jonathan Taylor on the IR. Thoughts on who to start? So we're going to be going with Jalen Hurts at quarterback. Wide receiver, we're going to go A.J. Brown and Christian Watson. Running back, we are going to be going with Bijan Robinson, Joe Mixon. Tight end, we have Kyle Pitts. In the flex, a little bit of a tougher spot considering Taylor's on IR. JSN's injured. I want to see the Herbert roll before we start him. I want to see the Gibson roll before we start him. I don't know if we get the clarity, though. I think we go ahead and we have to start Khalil Herbert. I don't think it's going to be a Gibson game in Washington, given the fact that, I mean, they're playing the Cardinals, so they're going to be able to go through and just run the ball consistently. The Cardinals aren't going to be able to score points, right? At least that's my thought process behind it. Okay. So it looks like the girlfriend's asleep and not bringing us water, ladies and gentlemen. We may need to go ahead and get some water here. ETN off the board at 38. Christian Watson goes. Okay, we're going to be live for another like 30 minutes. We're probably going to do another draft. So we're going to take Mixon, and then I'm going to run to get some water. All right? I need water. My voice is completely shot, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, I'm sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen, but we are back here. And next question coming out from Charles says, 10-team league, happy PR. Fields, Cup, St. Brown, CMC, Najee, Goddard, DK, Akers, Deontay, Hollywood, Treylon Burks, Penny, and Elijah Mitchell. Perfect guys to roster at the very bottom of the roster. Burks, Penny, Elijah Mitchell. We're going to get clarity on their roles at the beginning of the season. We just need to get by at the beginning of the year, and we can. We have Deontay Johnson to fill in for Cooper Kupp. Great team. And yeah, we have CMC there as well. There's no move to make. The move to make is send up a prayer that Cooper Kupp's okay. Now, Joe Burrow goes 53. See what happens. We are the dreaded round 5 now, where round 5 makes no sense. Bishop says, who should we start week 1 non-PPR in the flex? Dobbins, Keenan, Akers, Evans, Montgomery, or Brian Robinson? Honestly, it's going to be super easy in a non-PPR format to go ahead and take J.K. Dobbins. I mean, they're going up against the Texans as 10-point favorites. I think that they're in a great spot for Dobbins to have a great game. Tyler says, 12-team full PPR. We have Dak, Kamara, James Cook, Tyreek, Lamb, Olave, Schultz. And then on the bench, we have Akers, Dotson, Pacheco, Quentin Johnson, Anthony Richardson, Zach Charbonnet, and Sam Laporta. I think Laporta, Schultz makes sense to roster together. Richardson, Dak is okay as well. I don't love it, but I mean, it is what it is. If we get an opportunity to sell high on one of the quarterbacks and just use the other one, I think we do, but I mean, we can play the matchups with these guys. Running backs, we still have, some guys on the bench with Akers and Pacheco with overall depth. Yeah, I like it. I don't think we can make a move till Kamara comes back. Once Kamara comes back, maybe we can make a 2-for-1 deal. Brandon says 12-team full BBR, 1 flex. We have Jones, Cook, Najee, Chase, Devonta, DJ Moore, and Njoku. And then on the bench, Hall, Juju, and Zay Flowers / Stafford. There definitely has to be a better quarterback off the waiver wire than Matthew Stafford right now, especially with the Cooper Kupp injury. I'd cut Stafford. Go pick up someone like Sam Howell who has some rushing upside if it's a 4-point passing touchdown format. Great team at the very top end. The question is, you just kind of want some clarity on what we're going to get between Dalvin Cook and Breece Hall. Is that they split it literally 50-50. You may not be able to start either guy. It's probably going to be a crapshoot. And it may be a very difficult position overall, my friend. Okay. So Jeremy says 12-team BBR 2 flexes. We have Fields, Jacobs, Herbert, Metcalf, Watson, Kelsey, London, Sky, JSN, McKinnon, Chart, Elijah Moore, Geno, Devon Achane, and Van Jefferson. If we want to roster Geno to stack with a Metcalf, I'm fine. At least we don't have a backup tight end when we have Kelsey. We have a lot of wide receivers down there on the bench. I think Van Jefferson is someone that I'm okay rostering for the time being when Kupp's out. Probably cut Jefferson once Kupp's back. Great team. We just need to play the waiver wire for running back, wide receiver whenever we have this a quarterback and tight end at the very top. We're going to go ahead. We will take Lawrence, and we will pair him up with Christian Kirk, ladies and gentlemen. That's why we took Kirk in this last round. So we just go ahead and still get a quarterback that we like the upside of on a week-to-week basis. You used to sometimes get Lawrence falling super far. Now Lawrence never really makes it at around 6. Now, a Bedorum coming out says 10-team PPR where we have Allen, Tyreek, A.J. Brown. Who's Alex? Alex Matt. Aaron Jones, Frymuth, Amari. The bench is Gabe Davis, Breece, Khalil Herbert. Any trade moves? Can everybody let me know in the chat, who's Alex Mack? Alex Matt. Need some clarity on this, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, Alexander Madison. Okay, perfect. As you can tell, we've been live for almost 8 hours tonight. If you combine our 2 live streams, so. Our brain cells are barely firing at this point. Sorry, trying to pull this back up again. Now that we know who this is, it's going to be a much easier spot. Okay, we're actually going to have to pull this back up on the other page. I'm sorry, my friend. Actually, I should be able to find this. Sorry, I'm just trying to find where we left off. Okay, perfect. Alexander Madison, Aaron Jones, Frymuth, Amari. And on the bench, we have Gabe Davis, Breece Hall, Khalil Herbert. Any trade moves? 10-team league, if we could go through and if we could trade like Khalil Herbert and Frymuth to get up to like T.J. Hawkinson, I think it'd make a lot of sense. Just because we are already so strong at wide receiver and running back. Cameron coming out says, 10-team happy BR where we have Mahomes, Jefferson, A.J. Brown, Akers, Jamal, Keenan, Andrews starting. The bench is Kamara, Dalvin, Gabe Davis, Khalil Herbert, Adam Thielen, Deion Jackson, Kareem Hunt. Should we trade for an RB? Not in the short term. I think that we have Jamal Williams to start in the short term, and we may end up getting in a situation where Khalil Herbert or Dalvin Cook ends up breaking out where we don't need a running back. So I understand right now it looks like we may need to. In reality, I'd wait till week 1, week 2, where we actually get some clarity on the roles for those guys. R. Gravy, longtime member of the flock, coming out, says, 10-team happy BR, make any moves. We have Fields, Hall, Walker, Jefferson, St. Brown, Waddle, Frymuth, and then on the bench we have Javonte, Dotson, JSN, Tony, Brian Robinson, and Elijah Mitchell. Great team. When we have this much depth, particularly at running back, I think we can afford to make a 2-for-1 deal if we can approach the Taylor owner, or honestly, even if like we have this running back depth and the Taylor owner needs someone to start right now, if we could trade like Javonte for Taylor and throw Taylor on the IR, I think that could be interesting as well. Just because we're not going to start him in the short term anyway, right? So the only thing that matters is long-term upside. Might as well try to make a play like that. Okay. Let's move this over. J Rose says 12-team PPR double flex. We have Fields, Olave, Hopkins, Gibbs, Pacheco, Kelsey, Judy, Kamara, Flowers, Mitchell, Bigsby, Mims, Rasheed, and Deion Jackson. I'm fine rostering these guys at the bottom end when we have 2 flex spots. We have the elite level tight end and quarterback still. And yeah, I think we're in a good spot overall. I mean, I don't want to be rostering too many players like Mims, Rasheed Rice, just because it's going to be hard to make waiver wire moves earlier on. But at least we have, I mean, those guys at the top end like Gibbs and Pacheco. If we could trade Judy for DJ Moore, that way we could get the Fields DJ Moore stack, I would really like that, especially if all we'd have to do is like package together one of like Mims, Rasheed Rice, or Deion Jackson. Miguel says, what running back can I trade Daniel Jones and Devon Achane for? You're just going to look for like literally any running back that's a slight upgrade. Like if you can go through and just get to, let's look at the tiers here. If you can get like Zach Charbonnet, A.J. Dillon, Brian Robinson, Antonio Gibson, Dalvin, Khalil Herbert, Pacheco, Swift, Alvin Kamara, really any of those running backs, James Conner. We're just trying to get any kind of value we can for Daniel Jones and open up the roster spot to make moves elsewhere. California coming out says 12-team PPR where we have Daniel Jones, Goff, Bijan, Gibbs, JT, Charbonnet, Bigsby, Higgins, Kupp, Mike Williams, Judy, Addison, Elijah Moore, and Njoku. What are your thoughts? I really like the team as it stands now. Start Goff week 1. Great matchup against the Kansas City Chiefs. Also, have fun watching the game. The issue is, I mean, even if we have a lot of long-term upside with JT and Cooper Kupp, it's going to be hard to get by at the beginning of the season. For the reason, I think that if we're also looking at another injured guy like Jerry Jeudy, I'll probably go through and see if we can trade away Jerry Jeudy and get someone in that's going to be able to help us in the short term. Is having that many of those long-term options that aren't going to be able to do anything for us right away, at some point, it is like a hindrance to the team, right? Okay. So we went Pitts in the last round. We're going to go just take a DeAndre Swift. I mean, it's just a super tough spot at running back beyond this. And we already made the consolidated bet on this Philadelphia Eagles offense with A.J. Brown, so let's double down on it with Swift. But Theo coming out says 8-team full PPR league where we have Hurts, Barkley, Etienne, Jefferson, Judy. Tight end we have Hawkinson, Evans in the flex, and then on the bench we have Walker, London, Hopkins, Kadarius Toney, James Conner. Should I change the flex? Honestly, I probably would start Kenneth Walker over Mike Evans in the flex spot because I don't expect Zach Charbonnet to have a super large role right away. I think maybe Kenneth Walker fades a bit down the stretch, but they're also 5-point favorites week 1. I think they run the ball. I go Walker. Juan says Najee for Mixon. Yeah, I think you take Mixon at this point. Andrews, Amari for JT. Oh, yeah, definitely want Andrews and Amari. Team is Dak, Najee, Connor, Chase, Garrett Wilson, Amari. The bench is Odell, Pickens, Slayton, Van Jefferson. Drop Darius Slayton. You can find a better running back off the waiver wire. You don't want to be rostering so many of those high floor, low wide receiver ceiling type guys at the bottom end of the bench. Drop Slayton, pick up a running back off the waiver wire, and please do not trade Mark Andrews and Amari for JT. Francisco says, should I trade Debo and Walker for Tyreek in a full PPR format? Yeah, hell yeah. In coming out says, gonna switch from sparkling water to energy drinks anytime soon, Mason. Stock ups on some Ghost for these marathons. I'm no energy drinks anymore, my man. My go-to now is just liquid IV. After, I ran 10 miles this morning. So, after I ran 10 miles, I did a liquid IV pack, for my electrolytes. And I did the one with caffeine. It has, 90 milligrams of caffeine, yeah. So, sadly, no more energy drinks for me. Okay. Now, but I appreciate the message, my man. And I believe our next question coming out from Louis says, 10-team full PPR. We have 1 quarterback, 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, 2 flex, 1 tight end. We have Lamar, Tyreek, Lockett, Pollard, Mixon, James Conner, Chris Godwin, Juwan Johnson. And then on the bench, we have Addison, Flowers, Brandon Cooks, Jamal Bigsby. If we don't need to start Jamal right away, I think that we can definitely go through and try to take advantage of some of his value to a team that actually needs him, to a team that drafted Kamara, to a team that drafted Jonathan Taylor. We could trade Jamal with Juwan Johnson, get a tight end upgrade for the long term. I think that make a lot of sense. Thomas says, need a running back 2 this week. Full PPR, we're going to go Madison, Miles Sanders, or Dameon Pierce. I think most weeks you are going to go ahead. You are going to take Dameon Pierce. Now, the issue is this week in particular is a very tough matchup going up against the Baltimore Ravens. So instead, I think we actually probably pivot over to Alexander Madison, my friend, where they, I believe, are like 5-6 point favorites against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They should look to run the ball in the second half. Jesse says, please rank the team and any advice on changes. 10-team PPR, Lawrence at quarterback. Running back, we have Stevenson, Etienne. Wide receiver, we have Diggs, Lamb. We have Higbee at tight end. And then who are we going to flex? Flex question mark. Bench is Moore, London, Addison, McKinnon, Dotson, Warren, Madison. We're going to flex Madison, get the guaranteed touches. I really like the team with the overall depth that we have. I think we can afford to package together Dotson and Tyler Higbee to go get an upgrade at tight end. Because, I mean, there are going to be some teams like the Cooper Kupp team, the Jerry Jeudy team, the team that has, say, Terry McLaurin that needs some wide receiver production. And yeah, we don't need it. I mean, we have more than enough depth to go around there. So I think we can afford an elite level tight end, or not an elite level tight end, but at least a better one. Wom's coming out, says 10-team PPR double flex. We have Lawrence, Bijan, Dobbins, A.J. Brown, Waddle, Andrews, London, Mike Williams, Elijah Mitchell, Warren, Judy, Tony, Moore, Devon Achane. What are your thoughts for week at RB? I mean, I think you're fine at running back in the short term. We have Dobbins in great matchup this week. Obviously, we have Bijan Robinson holding down the fort. I think that just rostering as many running backs down there on the bench as we possibly can hopefully solve the running back position in the long term. I mean, all of a sudden, if Elijah Mitchell or Jalen Warren steps into the starting role, if there is an injury in front of him, then all of a sudden we're crushing at running back, right? So whenever we have Andrews there at tight end, don't have to roster a backup tight end, we just get an extra shot on one of those RBs. But Long says, 10-team PPR league worth only one flex. We have Watson, Tua, JT on the IR, Dobbins, Brian Robinson, Brees, Charbonnet, wide receiver. We have Chase, Higgins. I would love to try to trade Deshaun Watson and Tua to go get Burrow to get the Chase, Higgins, Burrow stack. Amari, Dotson, Addison, and Andrews. Love the team overall. I'd love to trade Dotson and Zach Charbonnet as well for a running back upgrade to fill in for Jonathan Taylor in the short term. Okay, what do we want to do here? We'll just stay balanced. We'll just go with the wide receiver. But Roy says, hey, Mason, longtime listener and subscriber, first time writing. Thank you, my friend. Just wondering if you could trade Pirine and Dobbs for Charbonnet. Any waiver wire tight end ideas? I would love Higbee if we can somehow find Higbee off the waiver wire. And honestly, Pirine, Dobbs for Zach Charbonnet. Definitely give me Zach Charbonnet. I think Pirine has a role at the beginning of the season. But, I mean, as Javonte Williams gets healthier and healthier, I think you have to assume that Pirine fades out. Okay. So let's move this over. And I apologize about this, ladies and gentlemen. Let me move this board up. Now, Ramiro coming out says 10-team PPR. We have Burrow, Jacobs, Pierce, Hill, Watson, Andrews, James Cook, Pacheco, Dillon, Judy, Pirine, JSN, and Hollywood. We have a lot of depth here. We don't have any injured players, so I think we can afford it outside of Judy, but I mean, still, I think we can afford to make this deal. I think if we can trade Hollywood and Christian Watson to go get T. Higgins to stack with to stack with Burrow, that'd make a lot of sense. I mean, we already have Tyreek Hill at the very top end. We have the elite level tight end as well. Great team. Great team. Now, Prod by Ruff coming out says, drafting in a 14-team non-PPR 6-point passing touchdown format. Traded the first and second round picks for picks in rounds 3 through 10. Any advice to crush the Actually, 14-team league, I like it. Never mind. I definitely say round 3, look for an elite level quarterback. I mean, if it's going to be a non-PPR 6-point passing touchdown format, they're going to make up such a high percentage of our starting lineup output on a week-to-week basis. Get an elite level quarterback and take swings on as many running backs and wide receivers as possible. If it was like a 10-team league, it'd be the worst thing in the world, but 14-team league, maybe we make it work. It's obviously wild. 10-team PPR, we have Watson, Chubb, Aaron Jones, Tyreek, Amari, Ingram, Hopkins. And then on the bench, we have Tua, James Cook, Pickens, Brian Robinson, Zeke, Dobbs, MVS. 10-team format with only one flex. Drop Dobbs, drop MVS. They don't really have the upside to make the difference in a format like that. Outside of that, great team. I don't really think that there are any trades we need to make. I'll just drop those wide receivers, pick up some running backs off the waiver wire. Devon Achane goes 127. And X Truebook says 8-team league where you have Mahomes, Gibbs, Sanders, Jamar, AJ, Hawkinson, and Metcalf. The bench is Dobbins, Johnston, Adam Thielen, Dalvin, Tyler Boyd, and Swift. What are your thoughts? 8-team league, Adam Thielen's never going to make a difference. Drop Adam Thielen. Go pick up another wide receiver you think has a higher ceiling. Go pick up Kadarius Toney. Go pick up a running back that has a high ceiling instead. I mean, I really like the team. If we could somehow trade like Dobbins and TJ Hawkinson to go get to Kelsey, to get the Mahomes-Kelsey stack, I think that'd make a lot of sense. But yeah, Boyd, like Tyler Boyd, Adam Thielen, those are guys that literally will never move the needle for you when it comes to an 8-team league. You're going to have a ton of players that always look like that. But I think we made it through the questions, ladies and gentlemen. So we will probably be calling the live stream here. We have live streamed for, I want to say, about 8 hours tonight. And please, if you have not done so already, subscribe to the channel. Drop a like on this live stream. And if you want to get in our next draft tomorrow night, the night after, the night after, the night after, you can find the link to Underdog in the live chat, in the description, in the comment section. Now is the best time to get on Underdog Fantasy because they have the $5 public tournament live. Plus, on Underdog, you have the site-wide Patrick Mahomes special, more than less than half a passing yard against the Detroit Lions on Thursday night. You have also an exclusive Flock special only for people who use promo code Flock. You have Josh Allen, more than less than half a passing yard for Monday night against the Jets. And if you are new to Underdog Fantasy, you are also going to get an additional mystery pick'em special, plus a 100% deposit match with promo code FLOCK, or 2023 fantasy football rankings, a free trial to flockfantasy.com. I've never seen Underdog have 2 specials the same week, let alone 3. So please make sure you're taking advantage of that. And if y'all enjoy us live streaming 7 to 8 hours every single day, there's no better way that you can support this channel by going and signing up to Underdog with promo code FLOCK and taking advantage of all those special pick'ems I got y'all. But thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I really, really do appreciate you. I really hope you have a great day, and I really hope I get to see you out with the live stream tomorrow night.